Hello,
Oh,
and welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory with myself.
Saturday Night Live, baby! Saturday Night
Yeah,
Live.
somewhere maybe in the world. I don't know how time zones work. But welcome back. Last episode we were, I think, doing more train tracks, and maybe we'll stop doing that this episode. I don't know. We'll think of what to do.
Never.
So,
I love trains. I hate the train track mechanics. I love trains.
I really like the train track mechanics. They're
Speaking of,
so
I like
satisfying.
trains. I got a little story. So I used to, when I was a kid, I used to go to cons. Right, I was a bit of a con goer when I was a
Oh.
kid, and I went to the London Comic Con right once. And do you want to know who I met there? Who I met
Obama?
way back when? No, I met Tomska, the I Like Trains guy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. It was so cool. He signed my
Was
shirt.
this like 10 years ago, or was this like more recent?
This was about 10 years ago, if not
Okay,
longer.
so he was still like I don't know what the hell he's doing these days anymore. I remember.
He's-
So tell me your history of Tom Skull, knowing of Tom Skull.
Oh, I had a friend in school, like one of the first friends I had in school. He came up to me, was like, "You should look up ASDF movie on YouTube." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Damn, that's the funniest thing I've seen." And he was like, "Yeah." And we were like 12, so we thought it actually was the funniest thing we'd seen at that
Now,
point.
assuming my memory's not wrong, and I'm not mixing up two different people here, I know of Tom Skull from even earlier back.
Eddsworld. I know you know him from
Eddsworld.
Eddsworld.
Eddsworld,
That's it.
like-
That's it. See, no, you're thinking of the right person there.
I
Don't
am,
worry,
wonderful,
you got
wonderful.
it right.
I remember watching like Enzo like as it was coming out in those days. I think it was Santa Claus. I was like, I remember that getting uploaded and watching that. Like, oh, good times, good times.
Exactly.
In hindsight, those animations kind of like they were very amateurish. they were just good
I
fun.
mean-
They weren't trying to be pros.
Well, at the time, it was like the time of just like Newgrounds webcomics.
I guess so.
Newgrounds like animation. So there was no like it has to be the best animation ever. It was like as long as the animation's funny
Yeah, they were
and the
just having
writing is
fun.
funny, it doesn't matter.
Like, there was,
and you know
there
what?
were no
That's,
professionals back then.
there was no, you didn't need, there was none, and you didn't need to be. You just needed to have a good
Exactly.
time,
You're
and
exactly
that's
right.
exactly what they had.
But let me tell you the story about that time I went camping. Or
Okay, tell me about the
camping
story.
in
But then
quotations, but
I do have something to segue into from that Eddsworld discussion. That's
Okey-dokey.
relevant to what we usually talk though, and I kind of want to see if you're okay with it.
okay. But
I'm sorry, I have to ignore the camping story because this is very
no,
on
trust me, it's really short. It's a really short camping story. I promise.
Okay, give me the story. Give me
You
the story.
know,
Give me the story.
so
yeah.
it was going to
Alright,
like
okay.
a camping thing. I don't know. It sounds like you probably know what it was more than I do. Like at the time, but
Yeah.
and there was this bit in it where we had to cross a body of water with barrels and ropes. We had to make a raft by tying the barrels together, and I distinctly remember that the whole class was like gathered around, and the teacher showed us like, okay, you do this, and then this, and this, and this, and this makes this kind of knot, and then it's like, and now you do this makes this kind of knot, and then immediately no one remembered literally anything. So no one's barrels held together at all, and everyone fell in the water except me. I was like fortunate enough or careful enough that I held onto that barrel. I was staying steady and I did not fall in the water. I was dry. I came out of that dry, and then there was like a photo at the end of it, and everyone's like completely drenched, and I'm just like sitting there looking very smug, bone dry.
That would be very smug.
But that's the
See-
story. That's the story.
See, I intentionally jumped off my raft because I thought it'd be funny, and it was.
But tell me the story about the Eddsworld then. Give me
Okay,
the gossip.
so it's not Eddsworld related exactly, but like it's within the same vein of like, you know, small creators just having fun making content type thing.
He's learned
right?
my favourite
So-
trick. So, speaking of
Exactly.
Eddsworld,
Well, no, it is related. It's related in the sense that like it is an old series that like was made by just a bunch of friends originally, that, you know, possibly became bigger, right? So I'm going to talk about Red versus Blue, right? Because
That's the Halo thing, right?
That's the Halo thing, right? But I'm also going to talk about what happened after Red versus Blue. I say after. Red versus Blue never finished, but what they moved on to make. So what happened was there was this one show that is very inspired by anime and made in the West under a professional company, right? Rooster Teeth are a professional company at this point. I will not have this
I remember
argument.
they used to
Exactly.
make like guides on how to get achievements in Call of Duty, I think.
They did. They've done a lot. Rooster have done a lot.
It was like back in those like the machinima
But-
days.
Back in the Machinima days. Yes, that's what Red vs. Blue was. It was a machinima, right?
Oh, it was. You're right.
Exactly.
See, I remember it now, and thinking of it now, like I think, oh, it's so amateurish. But like, you know, back in the day, you know, if something was machinima, it was like
Exactly.
professional.
Well, it wasn't actually done under machinima either, which is the funniest thing. Is that like it was a machinima, but it was not made by machinima, which is really funny to me.
I don't actually fully know how their like structure even works.
So machinima was a machinima is like a small little cartoon made in a game engine. That's the best way to describe it, right?
Oh, it's like
It's like a role-
machine. I see. Machine
And
cinema.
machinima, the company, is an MLM.
Oh yeah.
Not an MLM. It kind of is an MLM actually. It's like a shit like. It's shit. Machinima is shit. Machinima is terrible.
Even back in like 2008, it was clear there was something not quite right with Machinima.
Yeah, and it just got worse and worse. Anyway, so what Rooster Teeth went on to make after as their second project after Red vs. Blue, they might have made stuff beforehand, but what they made was they made something called Ruby. Right now, you might know of Ruby, right, son?
The
Do you
programming
know of Ruby?
language.
No, RWBY. Right?
RWBY. That's Red versus Blue, right? No.
No. RWBY is the very much anime-inspired cartoon that they made after, right?
I see.
Now,
Oh, is this the cartoon? Is this the cartoon?
this is a cartoon. This is a cartoon that's completely unrelated to Halo. Completely unrelated to Halo.
Okay.
Maybe Google image of it. You might recognize some of the characters, right? They're pretty prolific, right?
RWBY cartoon.
Yeah.
Is this Vroid?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just 3D.
I see.
It's very early 3D. Vroid didn't exist back then, like way back then.
It looks like
This is
the same
old.
kind of vein as like people making like MMD stuff, you know? Like it looks like that kind of aesthetic.
Ruby came out in 2013.
So it's cool.
So
It's
just a
called
reference
Ruby.
point. So it's old, yeah. It's called Ruby, but it's spelled RWBY. Now, Ruby, I'm gonna be honest, it sucks. It's ass. It's like actually like terrible. Unfortunately, right? But I bring it up because I remember last time we were talking, right? Last time you were talking about how the Western comics and cartoon industry needs to be more like anime, and it needs to be inspired by anime,
Or
right?
specifically, and this is a new terminology I'm using. Specifically,
Yeah.
it needs to be good. That's my new terminology.
That's your
it doesn't-
terminology. Are you changing it?
I'm
'Cause-
basically no. I'm basically making anime synonymous with good. I'm being that cheeky, but
Yeah,
like it
you
needs to
shouldn't
be.
be doing. You shouldn't.
It
be
needs to
doing
be
that.
good.
Well,
That's
what I
what
was
it
going to
needs
say
to
was
be.
Ruby is very much inspired by anime. If you can like,
Oh, absolutely.
ignoring
Like,
the fact
I
that-
would have thought that looks like I would have thought that's Japanese. It looks like they've got like
even look at the
models
characters.
from like
But-
anime or something.
If you take what like the creators say their big inspirations was, they list only anime and maybe Avatar, and that's it. That is all they list, right?
I would suspect that listing Avatar was just more like all right, here's what we're talking about, you know, like and maybe they don't know what other people don't know what anime is, maybe.
No, they were listing like Cowboy Bebop. As part of
Cowboy
their
Bebop's
animes.
definitely anime.
And honestly, with how Ruby looks, I would expect people to be like who are anime fans to get into it because I knew an anime fan was into it.
I agree completely.
And I called his taste mid as hell. And he was like, "No," and he was like, "Yes, it is. You also like Sword Art Online." And he kept denying that his taste was mid as hell, but I knew it was. I knew it was. Anyway, point being, right? Just you can't. My point was like, I think originally before you changed what you meant, right?
Well,
with making
I
anime good.
really changed my mind. It's sort of like it's like an expansion of it. It's like why do you want things to copy anime? Because anime is good. So by that
It's
you
not,
can
though.
guys,
Not inherently.
hot takes
Not
on
inherently.
stream. Hot
Anime
takes on
is not
stream.
inherently good. I'm sorry. I think
Well,
you need to be told this.
Well, I guess anime is just a
Anime
medium.
can be
so
shit. It is a medium.
It's just that there's good, but there's
It's
like if we're talking about like there's a lot of good anime coming out and there's not a lot of good like cartoons coming out. or well, like cartoons
Invincible.
that
Invincible's good. I'm sorry, Invincible's pretty good.
I haven't watched the cartoon of Invincible, but I didn't like the comic.
It's pretty good. You should watch the cartoon. You should watch. You hate the comic because of the art reasons. You hate the comic because like the art style changes halfway through, and you're like, I hate this. I hate this. Grr.
Well,
I hate comics.
Hold on now. I hate it for other reasons that are also exclusive to the art, but not just that it changes art style. I think it does a lot of terrible things in the art. Oh, what the hell?
Well, what does it do?
I died. Hold on.
Okay.
I died to
gas.
gas.
You're making me lag now. You're gonna get me killed.
I died. I didn't even realize I had low health. And I died to gas.
Damn.
That's
okay. So what else do you hate about Invincible's like comic then? What else grinds your gears, son?
I think like the art just isn't very good. They do a lot of like one of them is the lack of speed lines. I think I'm always mentioning speed lines, but like
yeah, if you don't have speed lines, son doesn't want to know about it.
I think like you have to have speed lines. I feel like it's you just can't you just can't make like it's not a comic. I think. And I think like,
when barely any comics hang on, wait a minute. When barely any comics use speed lines, you're like, it doesn't have speed lines, it's not a comic. That's kind of funny.
Honestly, like I think it's like well, I'm gonna run out of fuel one moment. Yeah, let me land here. Okay. I gotta get my death rate.
That's fair.
You know, I was ranting about this to someone else earlier about how when you draw a picture, like you know, you draw a picture, but when artists make a comic, they go about it in a different kind of way. Like even if they're just like it's different. It's different. Like in manga, they have speed lines everywhere.
Okay.
Like yeah, it's like part of the art style. But then when those same manga artists will draw an illustration, like the cover or something, they don't use speed lines. They don't use speed lines. They only use it for like the those parts of it, which I think is really really sort of interesting. I'm gonna die to radiation one moment.
I'm kind of like waiting for like.
Sorry, I ruined my own thing because I was like half focused trying to like get my stuff back. But let me try and carry what I was saying. I
see.
You know, I think if you're the comic, like drawing a comic, or let's be even more like specific. Sequential images, a story where it's a unique combination of writing plus drawing, where it's not a picture book, it's a comic. You know, it's like this unique thing. It's sequential images that tell the story with text and art. You know.
That is a picture book. That by definition is a picture book.
Well, a picture book can be. You can have like one picture for the like. Oh crap! I'm gonna die again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Comics just have more. Comics just have a bit more pictures. That's literally the only difference.
What, is there any food in here? There is. No, it's not.
Damn, it's over for you.
I need to find some berries. I don't need to find.
I think your definition of comics is skewed because you're just trying to define what you like as comics and things that you don't like as not comics.
You know, that's a good point. I should be careful to avoid that.
Because like they're both comics, it's just you like one more, and that's. And I will admit, speedlines do make it better. You are entirely correct when you say that. Yes.
I think there's an inherent animation to telling stories through sequential images. It's like simply going from one image to the next. It implies like that there is this sort of motion. You know. There has to be animation. I feel like
I don't think it has to be animation. I think it depends, especially on the part of the story they're telling.
It's sort of like how many if we're talking about like frames per second, you know, a full animation, you'll have something like it's got like 100 frames per second. It's got 20.
No, that's way too much. I was like, hang on, son.
I flubbed. I wasn't paying attention to my own words.
Hang on, son.
24 frames per second, but with animation usually like 12. And sometimes even
12 animating on 2s.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I completely flopped that 100 frame. What am I saying?
Yeah, I was like, son. I was like, whoa, 100.
I'm saying nonsense.
He's going insane, chat.
The what's it called? Is that Mercer Sphere? It is a Mercer Sphere.
Liked it.
The oh my god, I'm so struggling to focus right now. This is hilarious.
Are you okay? You can just focus on talking. You don't have to play the game for a second.
Yes, because I'm in an area, I don't know where I am at the moment. There's no train lines nearby me, and I'm like, well,
that's really funny.
What's going on? Anyway, and on the complete opposite extreme, you get illustrations. Like let's say you get like a painting, a painting of the Joker versus Batman. Like it's just a painting of them like kind of fighting stuff, and it's like one image, and in a way that one image tells the whole story. It's like it's the Joker versus Batman, right?
Okay.
And then on the and then the animation will be like an animation of the Joker versus Batman, or all animated on ones, and it's like 10 minutes long or something like that. That's like, and comics I think sits somewhere in between.
Yes, they have like what, one frame every second at most. About kind of maybe less.
It's not as rigid as that. It's sort of like they pick and choose the timing. The pacing varies, and they vary the pacing not just through the amount of panels, but like the shape of the panels. Like a big panel is like you look at it for longer than a small panel, so it's almost like it has more frames per second. So it's sort of dynamic in that kind of sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I agree.
But it is. I think it does. There is a connection to animation. I do think it sits somewhere in the middle of animation and still images.
I do not think it falls under the purview of animation.
And I think manga, and you look at this in the origins of both comics and manga, like what their early days were like, where the inspirations come from. With comics, it originates as picture books. Like they'll have a picture that like is like a picture, and then they'll have a story underneath it. And then as time has gone on, they've gradually got less and less text telling a story, and they tell the story with the picture, and it becomes more animated in that sense. The scenes represent more like key frames. Manga, on the other hand, comes purely from animation. The earliest, like it does. I'll argue this. The earliest, the godfather of manga, Osamu Tezuka. If you look at his first, like his earliest like stuff that he's like making, it's like people are like, this kind of looks like manga. It's just straight like animation cells, like not animation cells. It's like animatic type like things. Like it's very heavily influenced by animation and not picture books.
Okay,
I'll show you the example. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, give me an example of his like earliest work then, because like. Well, that still doesn't make comics inherently bad, because they're still picture books in the end.
Well, it explains why they're different. It
does explain why they're different, true, and you can be right on that preference. And I think especially in like active scenes, speed lines do help. I do agree.
It's this is Osamu Tezuka, like before he even like created Astro Boy. This is like early days from him.
Oh, okay. So
this
is
animation. Like this is clearly like very almost entirely influenced by animation.
That looks like steam, like he's trying to like almost like influenced by Steamboat Willie. That's what that looks like.
Oh, it is. He
Popeye,
like the story.
That's what I'm seeing.
The story goes that Tezuka was very strongly influenced by Disney. The Steamboat Willie, the Snow White, and he allegedly watched Bambi like 80 times to study the animation of it. Like and of course Osamu Tezuka, they call him like the godfather of manga. He's also like the godfather of anime. Like he was the one who pushed for like what we know as like the sort of lazy animation that anime does, where it's like it's conservative, they're saving frames, and he's the one who's like credited with like coming up with that more or less. Whereas by contrast, before that, animation meant Disney. Hold on, I know why I'm lagging. I've got I turned my video settings up. I'm gonna turn them back down.
Yeah, why'd you turn them up? Wait, what are you?
I don't really know. I'm being dumb.
Okay. What are you doing, Mr. Son? What are you doing? Okay, so okay.
It's much smoother on me now.
I still think that like, I think it really is preference at that point, because there are some comics that are good that just don't do the thing that you want them to do.
There's definitely a preference to it. However, if we're talking about what's gonna sell, then we have to consider preference, and we have to consider the preference of the average person, and
well,
the preference of the average person is buying manga and not comics, and I argue that this is a big part of it.
Okay, I'm gonna point out a thing here. I'm gonna point out a little bit of a thing here. The preference of the average person is like terrible, right? I hate because the average person, right? They're buying manga, but they hate a lot of like otaku culture, right?
I guess that's it's like frankly, even if you consider like the most mainstream, like like I don't know, it's just like
One Piece.
The numbers are so extreme in difference between who's buying comics and who's buying manga. Like
that is true.
It's
but, like
it's beyond like taste. It's like no one likes comics and everyone likes manga.
That's true. But like the other thing is that like there's a lot of, how do I put this? There's a lot of like what's appealing to like manga fans and anime fans is very different. That's the other thing to note.
Yeah, that too. Although I think it may be simply that sort of. I think if what's the most fair? I think if comics were more manga-like, the people who that's radioactive. I can't go there. I think if comics were more manga-like, they don't have to be like copying it, but if they took lessons from it, I think they would still appeal to comic fans because like it would just be a straight improvement in my opinion in the ways maybe I'll explain. And then that also attracts manga fans because it's like, oh, this is like just better. Like I feel like this is why I said like it's not about like copying an anime. It's about copying good ideas. It's about making a good thing.
Well,
like,
the good idea, right? The issue with comics, and this is starting to bleed into like superhero movies as well, specifically Marvel, is the issue with comics is that if I want to read, say, Superman, right? I want to read a Superman comic. I have to go out and find which Superman comic to read, right? Because there's 80 bajillion of them, right? And then I got to find the one in the like that isn't like that doesn't start off like halfway through some other character storyline in a completely different comic, right?
Exactly. And that is not as like you like even as you word that to make it seem like it's convoluted. It's actually even more convoluted than you're wording it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It is more.
Like you word it as if it's like, oh, you've just got to go and find a you just got to go and find a reading guide. It's like, okay, I found a reading guide. Now the problem's solved. The problem is not solved.
No, you have to still read through all the other stuff.
Exactly.
But then there's like and like the movies have started doing this. You want to watch like the latest Guardians of the Galaxy, you have to watch like the latest Avengers, and then you have to watch like all the other things leading up to that Avengers to get context for that Avengers. And it's like, okay, why do I have to keep watching more and more things? I don't want to keep watching them. I'm lying. Guardians of the Galaxy, you can't just get away with watching on its own, and you know what? I think it benefits.
But it's getting to the point where it's developing this reputation for being convoluted, where even if there's something in comics that is not convoluted, people aren't even going to know.
Still,
like they're not even like, because they're like, oh, it's probably going to be convoluted, and then like they've checked out before they've even looked at it, because it's now got the reputation of it. It's sort of
now there's work going into like a lot of work that's unrelated to what I want to enjoy going into what I want to enjoy, and I don't want to do that.
Exactly, and like
now I don't mind it sometimes. I'm someone who will put 100 hours into a game I don't enjoy to get good enough at it to enjoy it. Right? I am a sick and twisted individual, but even I'm like, I can't be bothered to do that. I can't be bothered to go to that.
It's about, imagine, well, let's use the game example. Imagine if to complete a game, you have to play, 10 different games, and you have to play them in an order which isn't obvious, and they all connect together, so you have to have your save files connected together in this sort of way to get to, like, the end game. This is convoluted.
Oh, God, terrible.
In fact, yeah, it does sound terrible, but that's exactly what comics are. You have to like oh, okay, you got to read this story from this, and then this part of this magazine, and this is like, it's like, dude, I just like, at the end of the day, people want to read the story. They don't want to have to be
exactly
like, if you make this a struggle for them, like this is terrible. That's a terrible idea.
I think that not all comics should do that. I think there is something to be said about like
should do that.
No. I think there are people who are going to enjoy that like interconnectivity.
You can you can have interconnectivity, but it needs to be a seamless, fluid experience for the reader. Like if they have to find third-party sources of information, the fans have to collate all the resources together to tell you how to find the next story. you've completely failed as like a publisher.
I think it's still no, because there's something to be said about letting fans like explore the works and figure things out for themselves.
Okay,
If you look at
if it's deliberately like convoluted, it's like okay, sure, you know, but it's like they're not.
Well, that's
you
kind
know,
of
like,
that's
you don't want
that's
people
kind of
to
what they
fail
did.
to find your
That's
story.
that's how like Marvel. That's how like Avengers: Secret War was a thing, right? It was inherently convoluted,
But
but
like
that was
you know,
part of like the storytelling.
I
Was
don't
that was
think
meant to be.
like I don't think Naruto is trying to be convoluted. I think Naruto wants people to read their stories.
No, Naruto is just trying to. Naruto is just not good. That's the other issue. Is Naruto is not good despite its simplicity of just.
But you know what it is?
No,
It's popular.
actually, it is. It is. Naruto is convoluted.
Oh,
Do you know how
is
many
it?
fucking flashbacks and side characters you have to keep track of in that goddamn show?
Look, yeah,
I
but
hate
it's,
it.
Yeah, but
it's
the
terrible.
point is, it's all in the same
it's
show.
Like,
it's all in the same show.
it's like, oh, this side character, this side character. No, because at least I can skip the characters I don't care about in like other stuff, right? There is a level of like, oh, I don't care about Thor. I will just simply not watch his movies, right?
yeah, but
I
then
can get
then he
away
shows
with that.
up in like the Avengers, and now you don't know who the hell
Okay.
Thor is. And then there's like there's character interactions.
Okay, but like the Avengers does do like a job just to introduce Thor like enough that you don't need any more for him, right? Like they don't like they do enough work
have I
to
told
like
you-
introduce him as a character.
Have I told
and
you
then
my
it's like,
story of trying to get into Thor? No, not Thor, Hulk rather. I was thinking of Hulk this whole time.
okay, the Hulk.
Yeah, I was so I go and find the original Hulk comic, and I read it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of entertaining, you know. And then
Yeah.
I think I get like 3 chapters in, and it disappears. It disappears. Like I'm in the comic called, I think it was called like the Incredible Hulk. Or it was called like, it was the first one, and I'm reading that, and he's gone. Like I'm now reading, and then I've got these other characters in this different like universe. This completely different story, nothing to do with it. It's different artist, different writer, completely different story, nothing to do with Hulk whatsoever, not even the same continuity. And I'm like, wait, am I in the right comic? It's like someone stapled this together like incorrectly. It's like, no, they haven't. This is how it is. This is how it is. I'm like, where the hell's the Hulk comic? And there's nowhere in the comic that tells me where the next chapter is. Like, I don't know. And I have to go online and I have to Google Hulk reading guide and I have to get a list of issues and magazines, and they're completely, there's no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. It's like, okay, to find chapters 1 through 3 it's in this comic, and then chapters the next chapter is in this comic, and then this magazine, and it's they're just like, whose idea was this?
Yeah, that's actually just insane. That's
It's
like an
actually
insane
insane.
person thing.
And I think
That's-
like it may because I was reading it as like a digital scan, I suspect that at the back of the book there was a guide written. I suspect there was a guide written that was saying, you know, you want to continue this story, go buy this magazine, and that was the idea, was to get people to buy more magazines.
Pirating it, chat. He was pirating it.
Look, okay. Here's another. Like, I don't even think this is a hot take. Everyone agrees with this at this point. Comics are overpriced. Like whether you're buying them
That's
brand new,
also
like,
true.
whether you're buying them brand new or you're buying them as like old issue stuff, like they're just so expensive. Like I've seen comic books in like charity shops and stuff, and I don't think I've ever seen one below the price of £10. Like
Damn,
they're
okay,
like
alright,
and
maybe
not
he's
even
right.
and good ones don't get me started. That they come in the bloody like boxes and stuff, like they're mid condition. Like I can't even read the comic to see if it's any good. You know, like before buying it. You know, I don't think you're supposed to do that. You're not even supposed to read it. You can't
Well,
crease
you
that
are.
spine.
You used to be able to read them before.
Yeah,
but
you
then people
used,
started
not
getting them
only-
like.
Not only did you used to be able to read them, but if you read through these really old comics, you know what they have, like dotted throughout the books. They have parts,
Cutouts.
yeah,
Cutouts.
And they got
Cutouts.
the little-
Yeah,
they-
you said
they
about
got-
this.
They got the little
You've-
dotted line saying, "Oh, here, put your scissors
Son,
here."
I'm gonna point out we've had this conversation word for word. Okay,
I'm a
every
broken
stream I'm gonna use a broken record waxing.
I'm like an
gonna-
old
but the reason-
person telling the same
The reason
stories.
but the reason I bring up Ruby is because it was everything that you were like referring to. It's like very consistent. You know, all the information you need is in one place. It's very heavily anime inspired, and it's still ass, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it's like it's not that anime is good. It's that it's
Yeah.
It's not that anime is by definition good. it's that anything that's good tends to be anime, and anything that's not anime tends to be shit.
No, the Invincible cartoon is currently very good.
I don't think I've like
fight on
seen
that
what
one.
it looks like.
It looks okay. Okay, I will give you a heads up. The animation is kind of ass, but there is a reason for that.
Let me have a look at this
It's because
Ruby thing, because I think I saw something.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's old now. It's old. It's old as hell now. Yeah.
Okay, no, I thought I had saw a Japanese outfit in there. I thought I had saw that because there's a thing I see that often happens with people attempting to sort of make like anime, but in the West is they go too far with their inspirations, and they'll have like it will actually be set in Japan. The characters will have Japanese names.
Yeah.
And they'll be like wearing
No,
like,
they
the
didn't do that.
Japanese school uniforms. It's like this is too far. But I thought I saw that I didn't. So don't. You have
No, they didn't do that. They didn't do
there.
that with Ruby. No. It is set in its own universe type thing, which is probably
looks like
better.
fantasy.
But like, yeah, it is like it's a form of like tech fantasy is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it looks like that. That kind of vibe.
Yeah, I don't like that aesthetic that much. I think it looks ass.
I haven't watched too much stuff of that sort of vibe to
but like,
know.
my point is that like when I was talking about with Invincible, it's like the animation is not great. Right, I will admit that now. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Son.
Okay.
The animation is very cheap. But this,
even
which
without
is just a shame.
even without having
But
watched that,
there
I
is-
can
there is a
recognize
reason.
that that's
There
a
is a reason.
disaster because it's a superhero
Well,
comic.
They
It's
managed
all
to make
animation.
they make the final fights look really good, and that's of like which is
I guess-
fine, right?
So that's something at least, but
Like,
you know,
but they are unfortunately this is not an issue with like the animators or like the people who are like writing the show. This is 100% an issue with Amazon, right?
is it an Amazon fund?
Because it's an Amazon funded thing,
I see.
and when Amazon funded in quotation marks, right? Because so the average Amazon show, right? The average Amazon original gets 50 million per episode,
That's
right?
a lot. That's crazy.
That's a lot. The Boys, for example, which is one of their more popular ones, which is another
live action
superhero one in live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's at 11 million per episode. Do you want to know Invincible's budget?
Oh, I can't. I mean, what is it? What is it?
4 million per episode. That is for everything.
Is that like really
that's
good
for
or bad?
everything. That's terrible. That is terrible funding.
Oh, hang on, I'm gonna space. Have I didn't.
That is quite literally a shoestring budget.
I disconnected.
Game disconnect.
Sun
Right,
is trying
okay.
to kill you. I think the radiation's trying to kill me. Actually, I noticed I was like next to a radiation rock. I was like, is that radiation? But it wasn't doing any damage to me. So.
Let me reinvite you. Let me invite you to game real quick.
Yeah, try and invite me actually.
Okay, invite sent. But yeah, that's what it was. It was the issue with like Invincible is that it's just got no budget, right? Like unironically.
That's so bad because isn't it like one of the most popular comics like coming out of the West?
It's one of the most popular comics and one of the most popular like superhero IPs that isn't like big budget movies, if that makes sense.
You know, like I distinctly remember like sort of looking up the numbers for like comic sales and stuff, and Invincible was like the top.
Yeah, Invincible's doing well, and it's not Marvel or DC, which is pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
Because
the guy who made Invincible
has no budget apparently.
Yeah, it has no budget. It's also by the same guy who did The Walking Dead, which is crazy. I
think The Walking Dead was also extremely popular. So
this
kind of thing surely should attract like a lot of money. Like, well, what the hell are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing with that.
So
I don't know what they're doing with the budget. They need to up it, but like it's like the writing is fine. The writing's pretty good. Like the writing is alright. The voice acting is really good because they get some pretty good like voice actors in there, right?
Speaking of,
but like
sort of like Western things inspired by anime that don't get the appreciation they deserve. I watched a documentary about ElfQuest. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, I haven't heard that one.
It's not very manly. That's why it wasn't like too popular.
That sounds about right, son. What are you watching with these knife ears?
But it was what interesting is because it was during the 80s, and anime was not nearly as well known in the West during the 80s.
That's true.
And so the this person makes this ElfQuest comic, and they try to take it to Marvel and DC, and Marvel and DC are like, what the hell is this? Why have they got big eyes? And why is it black and white? And they laughed him out the door. And so instead they go and like self-publish it basically, and it makes millions. It makes millions, and they're really successful. However, they failed 5 times to get an anime adaptation. You know, they thought it's like okay, just like anime, you do your manga, then you get your anime, and it's like okay, we've got the comic, let's get the cartoon, and like. All 5 times, the people they tried pitching it to just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. They saw this like anime style and they thought, oh, this is like Peppa Pig, right? You know, and so like they give them the comic, and the comic has like it's got like story, it's got emotions. It's like it's not for children, you know. It's like a thing, and then they're like, okay, so we'll redesign this character to look like a 5-year-old, and we'll change all the bad guys to look like evil moustache twirling videos, and like, no, you're completely turning into something for 5-year-olds, and
they didn't want it.
And then so they dip out. They say that no deal, and then this just happens again and again and again. They just like these people like they're like, oh yeah, we'll animate your thing for you, and then like they just like keep turning it into like Peppa Pig, like because like, they think this is what they're doing. And then they never get that.
That's what they think. They think it's only going to appeal to kids, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is really, really tragic.
That is kind of tragic.
It's
like,
kind
of funny though.
Yeah, like it wouldn't surprise me if that's basically what's happening to Invincible, but like to a lesser degree, where they see comic. And they think this is something for children. It's not important. This is a movie, you know.
It's okay. I will say 100%. It is 100% not for children. But the point is,
do they know that?
Yes, yes. It is like the okay. So the comic is notoriously gory, right? It has got some
but have all the people like I think like you underestimate like just how like the people paying for this, the people doing the funding, the people putting the money into this. Like, I'm not convinced that they're paying attention to what the content actually is. They just see the description. They see that this is a cartoon, this is a comic, and they're like, okay, this gets this kind of budget because this is for children. You know, and they let no.
They are aware it is not for children. That they are 100% aware.
The people
it's not for
making
children.
it, sure, but the people funding it, are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
How so?
Because Amazon is the one funding it, and Amazon is the one who's rated it 15 and up.
The people who have rated it 15 and up. The people who have put money into
Amazon's
it,
higher ups.
Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, look. There's a thing that happened in you like Gundam, right? You know.
No, I haven't watched any Gundam.
Oh, but you must know how silly the names in Gundam are, right? You got like El Goog and Quattro Vagina, and the names of the mechas and the characters are really stupid. And the reason they're really stupid. I have not watched
any Gundam.
Oh well, the story is that the names in Gundam are really stupid. They've got these really silly sounding names that sound like joke names, and that's because they are joke names. Because the creator would be pitching the cartoon to like these people who are paying him money and approving it all, and he realized at some point that they didn't care. They didn't care. They were just like they were like, okay, this is making toys. They only cared about making toys. They didn't care about like the cartoon or the story or anything whatsoever. They cared about about the toys. And so he would pitch this story to me. So okay, so this mecha here's got this history, and then like, oh yeah, that's good. And eventually just started getting sillier and sillier with it because he realized they weren't listening to him. They were just approving it based on how cool the toy looks. And then so eventually just start coming up with these silliness. It's like, okay, so this character's name's called Quattro Vagina, and this is one of the main characters, and they're like, yeah, okay. And it's like these people with money, like they have a very different perspective. Like a lot of them, like they're interested in very different things. Like they see. I've got no thing. Hold on. Copper sheets. That's what I need. You know, I'm sure, I wouldn't be surprised if the people buying the Boys comic, the Invincible cartoon rather, they haven't paid any attention to it. They've just been told that this person here, he's got this idea for a cartoon based on this comic. Like,
but
cartoon.
You went from they're like trying to make changes to it, but they're not making changes to it here. That's like the big difference. Because you were saying, oh yeah, they keep trying to make changes to it because they have the money and they want to change it.
Oh,
Yeah, because you're saying like how they kept trying to make like the elf comic.
Sorry, I
like,
wasn't trying to say that. That was two totally different lines of thought. There.
Yeah, I was like, why have you changed your line of thought here, son? What the fuck? what are you doing?
Whatever, bozo.
He's changed it to agree with me retroactively. I can't believe this man. SMH.
Since Digby has appeared, let me show you the thing.
Hi Digby, hi. What thing? What thing are you showing me?
The edit I made.
Oh, I'm gonna take a look at this edit. I'm gonna cry, aren't I? What else has he edited, Digby? Digby,
so
can we like?
Actually, I do it on stream.
I think Sun should just make his own comic at this point. That's what I think. That's my take.
This is a Batman panel that I wasn't happy with. I thought, and I wasn't happy with it because I thought the glow effects looked lame. Like, it's got this airbrush.
That was it. That's you. You hate. You were so. That is a spite play. If I ever. That is a spite. That's a spite move if I ever heard it.
This is it. I didn't like this, and I thought it looked lame.
That's fine. What's wrong with like the glow?
I thought that it looked airbrush. It looked like they've had the inker has done his nice lines, and then this guy has gone over it digitally with this airbrush, and it's like this haze. There's this haze over the what would be otherwise nice lines. I thought they've ruined it. And it doesn't look bright. This isn't how you communicate light at all.
It does look bright. No, it looks bright. You know? I'm sorry, it looks bright.
And so the first thing I did was I got rid of the haze. I thought the haze looked bad, so I did my best to get rid of the haze. And it's hard to do. I'm just like tracing over this digitally, so it looks kind of messy. But in my opinion, it looks cleaner. Like I feel like it doesn't have this haze anymore. I feel like it doesn't have. Okay, so Digby didn't like this. Digby didn't like this. Digby thought this looked ass. He thought it was a downgrade.
I agree, it's a downgrade, but it doesn't look terrible. It still communicates the light. I think the explosion does not look as bright anymore, though. That is the one thing.
I agree. The reason why it doesn't look bright is because it was probably designed to have this airbrush glow in it in the first place. So I think fundamentally the whole thing was designed.
It's like I changed it because I hate airbrush.
So I thought, okay, fundamentally, like they should have had this like. The whole thing was just designed poorly. So I think I then did this, and I'm unsure what to think. I think in some ways this is more interesting, and in other ways it's less interesting. But I think this is more interesting. That's my own edit. I think it's more interesting.
I think you're this. So okay. I want to point out you started this because you hate how that haze.
There's no haze.
Like the blue, yeah. You started this out because you didn't like how like the airbrush fucks with the line work, but you have actively made the line work look worse.
No, the line like it's. I don't like.
Yes, you have.
I don't like how it digitally blurs the line work. Like here in this edit I've made here. It's still flat. There's no
removed
blurring.
You've removed the line work. There's barely any lines between.
That's intentional.
That's bad. That's bad. I'm sorry.
Let me show you let me show you an example or something.
It was like a fine. It was even like a weird comic panel, like the ones you were originally complaining about, where I can be like, okay, I can see why you're complaining about it. This one was just you getting like.
Notice how in the original, Batman's fist, the behind fist is It's silhouetted. And the reason why, and even this sort of Batman woman has also somewhat silhouetted. The reason it's silhouetted is because there's a bright light behind them. That's sort of like that's how light works. You look at a line, and so in my edit, I've just increased that silhouetting, but there's also this bright light, so it's like a lens flare coming at your face. We don't see things naturally, so it's got this thing. This is sort of what you would see in real life. You would see it silhouetted, but you'd also see the light bleeding through in front of your eyes. But it would. I think it looks better.
This is what you'd see in real life as he gestures to an image of like people who are fighting crime in costumes. That's crazy, son. That's actually insane to me.
But the original, where it's just like they've drawn this half-ass, like not even very bright explosion, and they thought let's make it brighter by just adding airbrush. This is nonsense. This is not like it just looks lazy. They didn't do this in the past because they didn't have the tools.
I don't think it's.
And now that you've given them the tools, they've made this abomination.
Okay, right. I'm going to point this out. I think it's good that artists use the tools that they are given. I think that's a very good thing, and artists should keep doing
Okay,
that.
yeah, but they've got to use the tools correctly. They've got to use the tool correctly. Yeah,
So one thing, son. Have you ever used an undo button? Have you ever used an undo button in your art programs?
All the time, yeah. But that's different. That's
then
different.
You're lazy.
No,
you need to
like,
erase it manually and
let
redraw
me-
it, Mr. Lazy.
Let me try and think. There's a famous quote by a guy called Glenn Vilppu. He was like a artist. You know, it's a very funny quote that 4chan likes to meme quote. There's no rules, just tools. The airbrush is a tool, and
it's a good tool.
It can be used well, and it can be used poorly.
It's being
and
used
here it is
correctly.
Used poorly. It's been used incorrectly.
Look at my eyes. Look me in the eyes. Do you see when I speak? The airbrush is there.
Yeah, but you have this very different effect. You have this very different effect where it would be expected. But with comic art, there's this juxtaposition.
It's literally the same.
Look at the lines. The lines are drawn in a very classical way. They've got this like cross hatching where it's like a jaggedy line sort of thing. It's like a spiky line thing. It's a very classical look, and they've done this sort of like they didn't have blur. They couldn't blur the lines to get these halftones. They had to do it with just black and white for the lines, and that's a very classical approach, and it would be printed and it's like flat in color. But then they've merged it with this digital look, and it's like it's a contrast of styles. It doesn't go well together. It's a juxtaposition.
I don't think it is a contrast much. I don't see it as much, son. I think you're just hating on comics.
I think this is more consistent. I think this is more consistent. Like you've got the jaggedy lines on the lights, and you've got the jaggedy lines on the character. Just sort of like it's stylistically coherent. I think.
I will say the thing that you did, I do like how you've done the lighting there. I will say I do like it, but
my own
I think this is really
my personal complaint with it is that it's too different, and that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to totally redesign it because, like, even though that's what I think like it needs half the time, it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a tiny change that makes a big impact.
I think that you're just a little bit too biased against the comic industry, and therefore your word cannot be trusted so easily.
That's why I have to be careful. I have to be careful where it's sort of where it's why it's sort of it's like how do I argue good ideas and not biases.
You took like a one look at it and you're like, this is shit, I'm going to change it.
I think it's bad. I think like if I was like an art director, and I was directing these, I said, okay, we're going to make this panel, and there's going to be this explosion in the background. It's a bright light, and I would tell the artists, it's like, okay, you as the inker, you need to carry your weight. You need to draw the lines so that it looks like there's a bright light here, because I don't think that's what was done. I don't think that the light was drawn on the ink inside. I feel like it was just left entirely to the colorist. The colorist had to do all the lighting. And that's not right.
There's still the
It's minimal. It's minimal. It's not enough. This is a job that the inker should have been carrying most of the weight with, and he wasn't. And if I was the art director, I would tell him. I'd say, there's this bright light here. You need to silhouette these characters. You need to have this lens flare going through in the ink.
Sun is very quirky today. You're right, Ramnol.
Son, okay, I
have another question.
I have been reading the chat, so I haven't been responding.
No, he's too mad at comics. He hates chat more than the comics because he at least gives the comic attention. His chat is like a child starved for attention.
So mean.
That's what's happening. All right, okay. Is the comic at least consistent with the way it's doing that lighting?
Which one? The original one?
The original one, yes. Is it consistent with that way, with using the airbrush?
Well, no, I don't think it is actually, because if it was, then the lines would also be airbrushed.
Could you show me the rest of the comic then? What comic was that from?
I thought you meant panel by panel. I thought you meant within the panel. Let me see if I've got the whole panel.
Yeah, because if they're doing all their bright lights with airbrush, then it's fine. It's just artistically consistent.
They're not. Even you don't even need to see the full comic. Even within, I'll go back to the art channel and I'll go find it.
Right, he's finding it.
I'll find it. I've got it under a collage called Glowy Panels.
The layout could be a bit better. That is true, but I don't think.
There you go. I've got this big collage I made called Glowy Panels. Because it's
Okay,
this
right.
like I have literal collages to hate on comics.
So I know
Where
you
is
do.
it?
I
Where
know
is
you're
it? Here it
actually
is.
like a
Here's
professional hater.
here is like the full page, and
But these are different. Okay. These are different comics. I don't care. Like
Here is-
unironically, I don't care, and it doesn't matter.
and here is here's the full thing, and they use and in fact here I'd say this rocket launcher here on the right here. This is an even worse example of glowy panels. Because
So,
I'm pretty
hang
sure,
on.
I don't know too much about rocket launchers, but I'm pretty sure rocket launchers don't make this bright flash. It's just like not what they do.
Okay, they literally do because
I
there is
don't
a
think they do.
rocket that is being shot out of it.
Yeah, but it's like.
See,
I've
even
seen-
Digby's
look,
saying they
no,
do.
no, no, no,
Digby's
no,
agreeing with me.
I've seen videos of like people with rocket launchers shooting their rocket launchers. I don't see a flash. I don't see a flash.
Well, that's not a flash. That's not a flash. That is
flash.
the light from the No, that is
That
the
is a
light
flash.
from the rocket.
Why is it
That is
so
the
bright?
light from
Why
the
is
rocket.
it so bright?
Because it's a rocket.
It's brighter. It's brighter than the literal explosion. Like it's.
Yeah.
I don't think this should happen.
Digby has pointed out the actual issue with that rocket launcher is that the rocket has already left the barrel and there's still like light there.
It looks bad.
But like
It looks-
when you fire, hold up, let me find RPG.
Furthermore, look at this pose that Batman's making. What do you think of this? What do you think of this pose Batman's making?
Hold up, I'm finding like so like an RPG 7, right? For example, does have like a flash come out the end of it. If I take
I'll
this
have you
image,
know
right?
he's clearly shooting out of a vaguely cylinder-looking thing with a meteor ring.
I know, but I'm pointing out that like rocket
Yes, sir.
launchers do project that kind of light when they are fired, right?
I don't see a light.
Look at the end of the barrel.
The end of the barrel? Which end?
No, not the end. Not the end. Look at the back. Look at the back of
Back?
it. Right.
That's the back.
You see
We're
that
not talking
fire?
about the back. Yeah, but even then, there's no smoke. Even then, there's no
No,
light.
well, okay. It's a different rocket launcher, but no, there is light. You can see there's a flame. It's just an image taken during daylight.
I just think it's. I think.
Look at the back of that marine. Look at the back of that marine, son. Do
I
you
think
not
it's
see
just
the
smoke.
light?
It's just- I don't see light. I see smoke.
Do you not see?
I see smoke.
I
But look, the point is,
actually insane.
the point is, I still think that, and I see this with all these glowy panels. This is what I was complaining about, where they've been given this blur tool, this airbrush tool, and they just use it everywhere. They just like they're overzealous with it. They're just putting it absolutely everywhere.
Can you go back to that Batman comic? Because I literally don't care about the other comics right now, right? I don't care about the other comics. Go back to the Batman one, please. Okay, right. It's a little bit delayed. It's a little bit delayed,
It is
right?
a bit delayed.
Yeah, it's a bit delayed. Okay, can you go to the third panel in the Batman comic?
There you go.
Can you go to the third panel? The third panel. It's delayed. Give it a second. It's taking
It's
its time.
delayed, yeah.
No, yeah. Okay. So they've consistently used that airbrush though.
They
As you can
should've-
see,
they
they've
should
used
not-
it all.
But why
over.
didn't they use it in the line work? Why is the inker not used in airbrush?
Because he's an inker. You can't airbrush ink. It's not how it works.
Too many. Imagine if you go to like a restaurant, you order a meal, and the guy who's doing one part of the meal does it with like a certain kind of style, and then a guy doing the other part of the meal does it with a different kind of cooking style, and they merge them together, and they don't merge, they don't mix, and you're like, wow, it conflicts. It conflicts.
So I'm gonna tell you something because you don't actually cook food. I'm gonna tell you something that is completely fine.
Except when it's not fine.
No, it's completely fine.
You know, like if the food conflicts.
The issue,
like, okay, here's an example. Imagine you're,
okay, no,
you're
you
eating...
specifically mentioned different styles, right? And that is what we are talking about here with art styles, not ingredients, right? If ingredients don't mix, then you're right. But you said styles, and I'm going to take you here because that's more accurate to the analogy. Because different ingredients would be quite literally different. Like one of them is trying to do what, like this, like comic book style, because you got comic book style line work and comic book style, like lighting and color, right? And I'm going to say it's lighting and color. Because like as you can see throughout all of these comics, they're consistently using the airbrush tool. Even in different ones, they're using the airbrush tool, right? And I think you are just a hater of the airbrush tool. I think that's literally.
I think it's really bad. I think it's like if you're going to use airbrush
I'm
tool,
gonna-
you've got to go full Alex Ross. You know Alex Ross, right? He's the guy who does the painterly looking stuff.
No.
And he could use an airbrush, and it would look good because his whole.
No.
Okay, I'll find a picture of Alex Ross.
But like, okay. As I pointed out, right?
How can I find Alex Ross?
I think airbrush is fine. I think airbrush is fine. I see no issue with it. It's portraying the lighting, and lighting, like, especially like, okay, if you go back to the Batman one, and you look at the windows on the buildings in the back, that is pretty accurate to how it could look in real life sometimes.
This is Alex Ross's art, and now I'm pretty sure he's using a literal airbrush. He's very old fashioned, and.
Okay.
It works. It works absolutely here because the whole thing is airbrushed. You know, like it's stylistically a coherent thing. You know, like this is his. It works like as a cohesive style. You know, where he's got that. I know
that Iron Man is like a little too shiny. I'm gonna be real with you.
I think it's his style. Like he literally like the way he does this is like he gets the outfits in like real life and he references them. And so they have this look to them, but it's his style.
Okay,
it's his style.
Okay, so he's trying to mimic real life. Like he's directly trying to like mimic real life with his style, then, right? Because that is very much a little exaggerated, but that is like pretty like realistic stylings, right?
But now let's go get like the polar opposite. This is Jack Kirby's art. He's another famous comic artist, and he has this very cartoony style. That's famous. Okay. He is synonymous with comics.
Okay. Oh, it's this guy. I've seen these.
Yeah, he is like when you think of like classic comic art, it is Jack Kirby. He is the one who did this.
Okay.
Imagine if this yellow stuff here was airbrushed. Surely you must agree it would look terrible.
It wouldn't work for Jack Kirby. That's true.
In fact,
that's
I'm gonna airbrush it right now.
He's going to take a completely different example. He's going to take a completely different example.
This is what they do.
I think you're just wrong. I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong in that all airbrush is bad. I think it's fine. Like in the Batman comics, I think it's completely fine.
This is what they do.
Mentioned. What's Bright Story?
This is what they do. They get this line art that looks all nice and clean and crisp, and then they airbrush it, and now there's this haze. The lines, they're no longer nice black lines. They're this orangish looking line. It's this haze over it, and it looks. It's so much better. Clean. You can print this nice and clean.
I don't mind it. I don't mind that actually. That's not terrible.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
It doesn't look that bad. I mean, like, because it's like Jack Kirby's art is too iconic to really change. So I will agree.
It's because it's good. As just Jack. It's because it's good.
But like, I'm not gonna say that like the airbrush looks terrible. I'm not gonna lie and agree with you, son. I'm sorry. Yeah, it looks fine. I think
like here you see this here. This like Ra's al Ghul. I'm pretty sure this is the line art, the guy who's done the ink, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, the light is coming from down below, so he's drawn it as if the line's coming from down below.
Yeah.
But and that was all it needed. And then the guy is just coming, just like plastered this line, and you just can't see anything. It's just this haze, this ugly haze, like there's this mist. This isn't how light works. You know, the inker has done the lighting for him. The light, all the colorist needed to do was give this flat colors, and this would look very bright. But instead, it looks hazy. It's no good.
It looks fine. I think it looks fine.
Here we go. We got Invincible. We got Invincible here.
I like it. I love Invincible.
Look at this.
I can't. Hang on. It's updating. I need to wait. I think the haze is fine. And Invincible has airbrushed shadows all over it, though. To be fair, Invincible, like especially in these panels, it is using a lot of airbrushing all over it as well. So it's even more consistent.
I just think it looks poorly done.
I think it looks fine. I think you're just a hater. Man who hates comics. Crazy, am I right?
Yeah, I think it's a Satisfactory.
He's done no factory work. All he's done is hate on comics. I can't believe it.
I
don't even like the comics that much. I don't even like comics, and I'm like here like that's not that bad.
Oh yeah, let me say them. Give my quote. Here's my quote. I don't hate comics. I love comics.
I don't know.
I just think they suck. I saw you like Anton. I'm literally Anton Ego.
Okay.
It's like if I don't love it, I don't swallow.
So okay. I'm gonna point out Anton was like in that exact movie, I'm gonna point this out real quick.
I love how
in that exact movie, he was proven incorrect.
I can't remember the plot of that film, but I love Antonigo. He's literally
he's
me.
True. It is true. He is me with video games, but like I actually play video games. That's the big difference. How many comics have you read start to finish, son?
I've read like a lot of like the classics, like
Okay.
what would you call them? Like I read like the Killing Joke.
Old.
I've read like some of like I've read like the first like Batman, Superman, Hulk, etc.
Start
like,
to finish is the
you can't. Hold on, I've got you here. I've got you right here. You can't read any comic start to finish because no comic has a bloody finish.
Okay, that's okay. You know what? You know what? You got okay. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. You right.
Okay, but let's talk about ways to improve it, because I've mentioned things like don't do the glowy panels, do it with the line art instead. I think this is just a better way of doing
the glowy panels look nice.
Like,
I like the glowy panels.
I think your only options are, if you want to do glowy panels, you have to go full Alex Ross art style, and that is not
no,
that is not an economic way to go.
I don't think you do have to go full Alex Ross. I think you can. I think those panels look fine.
And
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest, son. That is not the issue with modern day comics.
It's one of the issues.
Panels.
I think it's one of
the issues. It is far from like top issue for those comics.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the top issue, of course, but it's what I like to call an easy fix. It's an easy fix. I think if they just simply didn't do it, it would cost them no more time or money. In fact, it'd be easier for them. They just go easier on it, and I think it would look better.
I think it'd be fine. I think it's fine. I think those panels are fine. I don't see much of an issue with them. Like if I was reading that comic, because from what it looks like, from what I can tell, I haven't read that comic, right? But because that comic, that Batman, those comics in particular are using that art style consistently, to me, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It works. It doesn't pull me out.
They're using it consistently, and it's consistently bad.
That is an opinion. That is not a fact.
It is a factual opinion.
It is an incorrect opinion, IMO. It is not factual, because I'm the one with the correct opinion.
Let me continue on the train of thought I had from earlier about the speed lines. And I think we've argued about this, but so maybe I won't argue it too long. But speed lines. So what speed lines do is they convey motion. They convey motion.
Like speed lines.
I will agree
speed lines are good.
They convey motions in many different ways. And I haven't seen an effective way of conveying speed without speed lines, and I've got a collage for this as well. Let me go find it. Let me go find my collage for.
He's got another collage. He's got so many like collages.
This gives you a hint of like how much like time
how insane you are.
I've put into hating on comics.
He's put this much time into hating on comics, and he hasn't written his own yet. That's what I'm saying, right?
I know. I'm literally Anthony.
I think Son should go write his own.
Here it is. This is a collage I made of what do I call this? I called this speed panels. So they don't have some of them have speed lines, but these are panels where stuff is moving fast. And so speed has to be conveyed. And this is really easy to find in superhero comics because, they're superheroes, they fly about.
Yeah.
And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like, here's an attempt. This one here, I don't know where this is from.
Hang on. The Batman one. The Batman
Which
one.
one?
The Batman one. Go
Which
to the one on the left. Batman one on the left. Batman one on the left.
This one in the middle? Or the one
on
the far left?
The middle left, yeah. The middle left.
This has speed lines, and I think this is a good example. I wasn't... Make no mistake, I wasn't...
on the right. You're on the right.
I'm on the left. I'm on the left.
You're on the right. Oh, it's updating. It's updating. Give it a second.
So this is not cherry picked. This is not cherry picked.
Yes.
I haven't cherry picked. Oh, these look really sloppish. I've just picked speed lines. I went through my comic folders and I thought, okay, if the character is moving fast, I'm adding it to the collage, and I did that until I filled the page. So this is not cherry picked, and it just so happened that some of them have speed lines and some of them don't. Some of them have artistic speed lines. For example, this Commissioner Gordon one here on the far right. There are speed lines here.
I can't give it a second. You gotta remember. Give it like 20. Give it like 20 seconds.
I think that there are speed lines here. I think that these lines here were added deliberately to add a sort of feeling of intensity to the scene.
Okay, but that's not speed lines. That's not a speed line. That's just
I count it as speed lines. Because it's not as distinct as it is done in manga, but I think it's doing the same effect. whether they intended
I
it or
don't
not,
think it
I
is.
think
I
it's
think
having that
it's-
effect. I think if you got
I
rid of
think
this
it's-
background stuff, it would look less intense.
It's okay, but that's because that's something called a vignette, right? Which is actually what it is, and
But
that's what you're talking about. There. It's not a speed
it's done
line.
really roughly. It's done really roughly. Why
It
didn't
is
they
done
use,
roughly. You
See,
are
why
right.
didn't they use the airbrush for this?
because for shadows they use rough shadows because rough shadows look better. That's all I'm saying.
This one below with the Superman looking guy. I don't even know if
To
this
be
is
fair,
Superman. I think
they
this is
are
like
to be
Superman's
fair, they
son or
are doing
something.
something. I'm going to nitpick something here. All these comics are doing one thing. They are shading with black, and I hate that.
I'll complain about that in a bit. That's another complaint I've got. I'll explain.
That is true.
I've
That
got
I
a good-
agree on.
I've got a very sound argument for why that's bad. But this panel here below, this is conveying speed in a different way. It's conveying it through the blurred background. You see this in photography.
Well, those are speed lines. Those are what speed lines actually look like.
Exactly.
In real life.
That is what actual. However, I think this has the same problems as the what's it called as the airbrush. It looks digital, where the character looks like it's drawn almost traditionally. It's flat. It's cartoony almost, and then it's got this blurred thing. I feel it stylistically doesn't work. It's a small nitpick, It's not. I'm not gonna die on a hill about it.
Maybe,
but I don't think it's the most effective way of doing it. Another
I
strategy.
think it could. He looks fast. He looks fast. I'll say it does
He
the
does
effect I
look
need. It does the
fast,
thing.
but I think he would have looked. I think the comic would have artistically would have looked better if it just had speed lines. I feel like the blur effect is not for me. It's not for me. But I'm not going to die on that hill.
Maybe.
Below it is another.
It's like that,
another strategy.
that's a tasting. Okay, he's admitting that it's taste.
I agree. That's kind of taste. Like if I was making it, I wouldn't do it. But here's another way: you draw the character multiple times. I personally don't like this because I can't help but feel like there's been clones added to the scene. That's maybe that's kind of weird for me.
I think that's fine.
I feel like it would have been better to just add one, or do multiple panels. Just split this up into multiple panels.
Multiple panels would also be good. I think that or multiple panels is good. I think speed lines would not be as good there, especially for some of them, because with those kinds of panels, it's also trying to demonstrate how they are going fast. And sometimes the movements are more complex. So, for Superman just flying, I think it would look stupid as hell. But for something like him, where he's doing an acrobatic maneuver, I think it looks fine because it's showing off that level of intricacy.
Back to this Batman one on the left here. This is a classic technique of showing motion. You show motion through what the environment's doing. There's no way that all these glass shards would be here in this kind of arrangement if Batman was not going very fast with a lot of force. This is effective. This is a good way of doing it. And then finally, I get this panel, the rest of the panels on the page, I just really don't like because I don't think there's any motion, particularly this Superman here. This is my prime culprit. I see no motion
prime culprit
here.
Is Superman.
I see no motion here whatsoever.
Give it a second. It's updating. Give it a second, son.
I see no motion here whatsoever. Yeah. He looks like he's
statically
flying in the thing. Is he going up? Is he going forwards? I don't know what direction
he's
going.
That one does look ass. I will agree. That one does look like shit.
It's really
I think I'm going to point out that I've seen this panel before from someone completely different.
Complaining about this exact problem?
Yeah.
Was it unfortunate?
This was it was just bad. Because, I don't know, it was on, a video.
Oh, okay, because if it was unfortunate, it was probably me.
Okay. So we know where Son goes in his free time then now, chat.
I will have you know, I haven't been there in all year, but I have, I'm a bit of I have made friends with these exact scholars before. If you find them, it's me.
Damn.
But now, just to drive the point home, I've got the collages from across the pond. I think what Son should do is instead of making his collages, Son should make his own goddamn comic at this point. These are manga panels that use speed lines, and
there's a lot of them.
They're so
the speed lines are very
dynamic.
Common.
There's so much more motion, and if you ignore the speed lines and just look at the drawings, there would be very little motion in many of these. Imagine this car one. This car one, once your thing up to date. If you got rid of the speed lines, it was the car moving at all, you would have no idea. But the speed lines convey the motion.
I can't see it yet. You're going too fast for your stream. That's what's happening. That makes sense.
Also,
I'd still be able to tell. Okay. With the car one,
without the speed lines, you would only have his hair flowing in the wind to tell how fast they're going, and it probably wouldn't look that very fast at all. The speed lines convey and it's such an effective technique. Like why?
Also, that's Dragon Ball. I can't tell.
Yeah, this is early Dragon Ball. This is before.
Oh, I never watched.
This is like a decade before Dragon Ball Z or whatever. This is like Goku's a little kid at this point. This is. I think is this Yamcha? Is this? I can't remember the character's name. Is this Yamcha before he was a joke?
I have no clue. I have no clue because I haven't watched any. I have not watched Dragon Ball like at all.
It's alright. It's I like it for the art. I like the art.
I think there's one thing I do want to point out real quick.
Go ahead.
When like anime is animated, they put speed lines in it in the animation too.
I think like straight up animation has the unique advantage of being animated,
not needing them.
It doesn't need them. So it's
but
sort of like,
I think it's interesting to point out that like in comic cartoons they don't really put speed lines in the cartoon either. But in anime, I usually see like speed line like effects in it all the time. So that's,
they do them sometimes.
I'm literally remembering I remember like
more
all of Dragon Ball.
Like let me show you a thing that you. Where is it? Shock panels. I think I've got it titled.
It's not just shock panels. No. I'm thinking specifically of like the Dragon Ball fights. They have got speed lines all over those animations. I'm sorry, but that's like literally just animation right there, son.
I guess I haven't watched enough proper anime. But
I've seen this. This is from clips. This is from YouTube Shorts clips. I have got this from.
Here's something that doesn't happen in anime nearly as much. It does happen sometimes, but rarely, quite rarely. I've labeled these ones shock panels. Like there's speed lines, but it's not because of motion. It's because of something like it's like a shock
intensity.
moment. You know, not even intensity. I've got another college for intensity.
They're not really okay. They're not speed panels. Then they are showing like an intense shocked emotion.
Yeah, and they're doing it with the speed lines. It's sort of like it's the drawing lines.
Speed
maybe
lines.
Semantics. You could argue semantics of like what you would call.
Well, semantics, but that's literally the name of them.
Adding a load of lines on the page. You know, like
yeah.
It's such an effective technique. It's such an effective technique.
You want to know what it's doing? It's drawing in the reader's eye.
Yeah, it does that as well. But it also like it communicates like the mood. For example, in this I'll just say zoomed out or something, but like by how dense and close to the character's face the speed lines are, it changes things. When they're like it like has a heavier atmosphere. If they're like really dense, it's like more serious. Where if it's just a few of them, they're kind of far away, it's a bit lighter. I've noticed that effect.
I see. Also, son, I'm at the why is this still getting oil? Where the fuck is this oil coming from? Is it just drawing? Son, I have a thing to say. You know that oil refinery we were going to turn off because it was kind of ass?
You mean the one at the beach?
Yeah,
I was gonna just lower it. Don't tell me we're running out of power.
No,
the power's stable.
No, you still have that oil refinery just on in general.
Oh, I have to go fix that at some point. I think what I need to do is I just need to delete a third of the generators because it was like it's a third less oil than I thought I needed or something.
No. The other one, the original one you made that was like actually like shit that you like intentionally made shit because it was quick and dirty, right?
Did I not?
To do with
That's kind of funny.
That was not. It's not unplugged. It's been plugged in this entire time.
That's kind of funny. Let me explain what I mean by shading with black. And unfortunately, I haven't yet made a collage for this. So I'll just be. Am I on the back in the game?
Okay, son. I'm gonna say don't make a collage for it. I think you should make a comic that doesn't do it. That's what I think you should do.
That is something I've attempted to do, but I've been lazy and haven't made progress with it. What I did was I took all these panels and I like edit them to be different, like remake the comic, but like. Only as slightly different as possible, just changing those small things to see what effects it has. Like isolating it. But I was lazy and I haven't made any progress with it. Let me tell you about the shading with black, because you yourself realise that this looks bad.
Well, okay. It looks shading with black. Okay, I can tell you why shading with black looks bad.
Okay, go ahead.
It's because it muddies the image. It makes the image not like have the vibe. So okay, in Batman, I will accept shading with black because they're going for a more dark tone.
It's a gritty look. Yeah.
It's a gritty look, and if they're going for that, I think that's fine. But doing it in every comic is a terrible idea, because some comics, some comics are more happy-go-lucky fun. They're meant to. They're meant to be like
That's
all
exactly it. If you've ever gone to any kind of like art class, the first thing they tell you is that you shouldn't have black on your palette, and it's a bit of a meme
Exactly.
advice, but the logic behind it is that it's not how lighting works. You don't
Exactly.
if you shade with black, it kind of looks like your characters have been covered in soot. They've come out of like cleaning the chimneys. They come out of a coal mine.
Well, it also just like, especially like with regards to character design as well, shading with black takes away from the ability for people to see parts of them.
That too, and I think the reason why it's done is sort of the same reason a lot of these things are done. There's what the inker's doing, and then there's what the colorist is doing, and they're not communicating well enough. I'm gonna give you a point. I'm gonna point something out here. It is not the colorist that is wrong for like shading, for like doing lighting with an airbrush. It is the inker's fault for shading in black. I agree. I agree completely. I agree completely. So the
airbrush is fine. He agrees. Chat.
No,
we win.
No. I mean, it's like as a cohesive product. It like one is like when you look at people doing anime art, they've got their line art. They don't do the big black areas of shade, and I'm talking about illustration anime art. Like, I know they do it in manga, but I'm talking like illustrations. They do the line art, and they very rarely do see large black areas of coloured in ink.
I'm gonna say, because we are talking about like manga versus comics here, I am gonna say you have to talk about the manga instead. You can't just talk about you can't just talk about illustration art.
I can't talk about manga in this specific example. Do you know why?
True.
Do you know why I can't?
Because it's in black and white.
It's in black and white. There's no colour anywhere in there at all.
Yeah, that's true. You are right there. You make a point.
And
you should have started with that. You should have started with that point. You should have started with that.
I guess.
You should have been like, unless you're doing like something that's monochromatic, and then it's fine.
Yeah. If you do monochromatic, it works, because in a way that's like effectively black and white.
Yes.
But
black and white is monochromatic.
You can also get away with it when you have a really bold style, like what old comics used to look like from like the 60s and stuff. You get away with that because it's just so stylized. It's like pop art. It just sort of kind of works.
It's because they do like the super bright colors for where the colors are, so the black contrasts well with it.
It just goes well. That's not what they do in comics today. Comics are. They're like realistic. They're trying to do realistic rendering, but then they've still got this thing, and it really looks bad. It really looks bad. They need to, like, the easiest solution, I think, would be to simply simplify the line art. Make it more like what anime artists do when they do their line art. Just lines, just like they're just outlining things, and let the colorist do all the shading. Then it would look more cohesive. And the reason I suggest it is because that's easy to do. You literally have to do less work. Just tell the inker just to do less, and it would look better. The alternative, which is also kind of an easy solution, is to just fire the colorist. Just don't have color. Like, have you seen what comics? Like, every now and then a comic gets published, like a special edition where it's just the inks, because people love the inker. The inker's a celebrity. And it looks great! People love just the inks. They stand on their own as these, works of art. The colorist is just getting in the way. And in a way, I guarantee you that's what the inker's probably thinking as well. Like, he's like, wow, this ink that I've done looks really great. He's not thinking about the colorist. Like, he's not working with the colorist. The colorist is ruining his inks. And he is ruining his inks. You got to go either one of the two ways, but having both the dynamic inking and also the dynamic coloring, it does not work. It does not work.
They should collapse it into like a more streamlined process. You are right.
Whatever the solution, it needs to be cohesive. Like there's it's like I think it's like the argument of the music band. You've got the guy playing the guitar and the guy playing the drums, and they're both competing for attention, and the thing just sounds like noise. Like you've got to work together as a band and make a nice sound, and they're not doing that. They're fighting each other.
Oh, son, you know what you should check? 1 second. You should check the syncs real quick.
The syncs?
We've been having we have had stuff syncing this entire time we've been doing the trains.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that we don't have many points because I need to have power.
Son, we were sinking oil products.
Let me see. Irrelevant. 40 coupons. It's not a match. I'll nab them. I'll nab them.
That's pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I will admit, that's pretty good. I expected like 5 points or something, but like
no, we had a lot there because we're sinking fuel, we're sinking rubber, and we're sinking plastic.
The points you get for sinking depend on their complexity. The elevator parts will
super complex.
Sink for the most points. Like the harder it is to make something, the more it sinks for.
How much is this printing out? This is outputting 40 per minute. 40.
But what was I gonna say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But yeah, you know,
7,
I'm a
8,
big fan.
9,
I'm a big
10.
fan of quick fixes because quick fixes are cheap, and business people who are paying for these goddamn comics, if you could give them a quick fix that would cost them less money for more profit, like that's a realistic solution. You know, like I tell you, like look, if you fire the colorist, you're gonna make more money. Like if I could convince them of that, like you know, they would they would like that. You know, like rather than suggesting like the other suggestion is that everyone should just be Alex Ross. You know that guy I posted over with a realistic looking art with a super shiny Iron Man. You know,
I don't like that. If every comic was like that, I'd be less likely to read it.
It's not my personal taste, but a lot of people do like it. He's a legend in the industry, and everything he sells becomes a bestseller. You know, he's very famous. Well, he's not my personal favorite, but like
I'm gonna tell you something, son. That's also personal taste. You're gonna hate this one particularly.
Go ahead.
So you know the 80s and 90s style anime eyes?
Oh, don't tell me you don't.
I don't like them. I don't like them.
You can't say that.
That's how I hurt you, son.
I'm a big fan of the. But I'm going to go to Emma's Fate. I'm not even going to plug in my tablet. I'm not even going to plug in my tablet. I'm going to draw an anime eye. I'm going to draw an anime eye, and girlfriend's going to hate it.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it.
Here we go.
That's the difference. But like, my point is like a lot of things you're describing with comics can just be chalked up to like personal taste half the time. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point of this. Also, I'm updating our fuel lines, by the way. But yeah, I thought that'd be a fun, shocking line for me to tell you that I'm just not a fan of them. It would truly scare you. Put the fear of God into you, son.
You have scared. There we go. What do you think of my eye? He hates it.
It's. I mean, it's Drum and the Mouse, but so that's like a little unrelated.
I've deliberately drawn it with my mouse because it's so simple. I love it for its simplicity.
I'm like a big fan of like 2010s ish like
I'm
anime
trying to think how they
look.
look. They got more. Oops. Also draw this one, I think they got more, like, a lot more streamlined, you know, I think.
They did, yeah.
And I think the eyes themselves got rounder, I think.
Yeah, they did. They definitely got rounder. So, like, I'm just pointing out that, like, the point of this, the point of everything I just said was that it's all taste at the end. A lot of it is just personal taste.
Well, how much, yeah, but what does my taste align with? Is mine some niche, obscure taste, or how aligned is my taste with what the mainstream people, the millions of people buying manga, would like? That's sort of. I think in terms of like liking anime art, like yeah, I agree. I'm not aligned there, but like, sorry. I mean, in terms of 80s anime, like in terms of liking 80s, I recognize that is niche. You know.
Yeah, that is a niche, but I think it's like, it's like niche art should exist, not just should. Right?
I agree, but it's sort of.
I agree.
I'm always on this mission to discover like how do we have a renaissance of the comic industry in the West.
It's going so. Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about with the Ruby thing, right? You said it was because the people are inspired by anime.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Possibly, but like that isn't going to inherently fix the issues with the industry. That's just gonna create possibly more issues.
There's also the issue is that it's sort of like a lot of people are quick to jump to the prescription, oh, just make anime and it'll be popular. It may not necessarily be so.
No.
There's more than enough anime in Japan that you don't need to care about the West. Like, you can watch as much Japanese anime until you drop dead.
Yeah.
I think that what we should be hoping for is something unique. Something like a synthesis between the Western's taste for aesthetics and the good ideas coming out
also,
of Japan.
quick heads up, we might lose power. I'm fucking around with the power generators right now.
I thought you meant on like the stream for like IRL.
No. That'd be really funny. Alright, bye chat.
Well, what is this? He's doing his Polybius impression.
Doing my Polly impression. It's over. But yeah, I think like the industry renaissance you talk about, son. I don't think that's going to happen as easily.
I don't think so either. I think that it needs to be something new. That's the only way it's going to happen. If it's just anime but not from Japan, it won't. It'll make some money. Look, frankly, I think it'll make more money than comics, but it's not gonna revolutionize. It needs to be something new and exciting that Japan isn't doing, and to do that, I think you have to build a style of drawing and writing from the ground up, from first principles. Like, why do people draw the way they do in anime? Why does that style exist? What's going on there? And then also the same for Western comics, and why did it go wrong? And there's also ways that you could argue that anime has gone wrong, and what we shouldn't mimic those. Like one thing is there's an obsession with high school in Japan for obvious reasons.
It is true, because it's aimed at young boys.
But it's also like culturally, like, people don't focus on adult life as interesting in Japan as much as they do in the West. In the West, people are very individualistic. Like, they don't just sell their life away once they get a job. Like, I guess a lot of people do, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like there is not as much emphasis on adult life in Japan. There's a lot of focus. Like, people think about like the high school life, and all the animes about these high school kids, and you see in the West, you think of the cartoons in the West, they don't do that quite as much. You get, about all parts of life. Sure, there is also a lot of high school stuff. You get the American high school sitcom nonsense, but there's also a lot of like
the nonsense. He hates the nonsense, chat.
Look, I'm gonna say I watched those Disney XD shows so much, like Wizards of Waverly Place, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, That's So Raven, Cory in the House. Need I say what? I love them shows. They were terrible.
Okay, they were terrible, but we love them. Anyways,
I love them. But I think that, like, if we were just to copy anime, we would start making high school anime, but in the West. And I don't think that's necessary. I don't think we have the same obsession about school life, So we need not be bounded to that. We can make stories about all kinds of things.
All right. Fuel is reconnected. I'm using this. I've reduced the amount of pipelines in use, by the way.
Oh, well, nice. I didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
He's cleaned up my mesh yet again. Maid Gelteran has come to the
rescue.
Well,
the mess was from, how do I put this? You remember that like issue we had where you were like trying to figure out the entire time, like, why is my thing not working? And then we figured it out. That's what I fixed.
My like 20 refineries. I've still only got 10 of them hooked up. Like, I never hooked up like the last 10 of them because I
you never built the other 10.
Yeah, I never even built them because there was like this structure in the way. I was like, oh bloody hell. In fact, I'm gonna fly over there.
I'm gonna do it.
You can do it. Also, get the numbers right. Don't make the same mistake I made. You've only got 400, not 600.
Yeah, I'm making the numbers right. Don't worry. I'm also taking out I'm also expanding by just adding more generators and removing a large chunk of like the power cells in it because we don't need them. We can always just make the thing bigger. It's whatever,
if
right?
If you like. Are you manifolding them? I see long lines.
There's one long line. It's manifolded because I don't give a shit, and it's as long as it's consuming.
Okay, look, if it's stable, sure, whatever, leave it be. But
yeah,
like, good practices of like for power generations, you got to be perfect. Like, especially like once you get to nuclear. I made a nuclear power plant in my last solo world. And I manifolded it. There weren't even that many. It was a disaster. Like, the more complex the power generation, the less forgiving manifolding is.
this is in particular, right?
What?
Sun. This is in particular, like liquids.
I'm not clear what you're on about.
If there's too much, it'll just not use it. That's fine.
I don't know. I don't trust liquids in this game.
Well, I do.
I'll go ahead and hook up the oil, because there's no oil going to the other generators. But I just got to plug it in. That's all.
Well, it's nearly done. I'm like.
But there's other things as well. Like one thing you may notice that I've never talked about is hang on, where's my other oil coming from? Is it really this far away? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorting this out, and then I'm gonna make the other oil plant, and then we're gonna have double our power, and then we get rid of the old oil plant that sucks. That's the plan.
Yeah. Okay, I found where it's coming from. The what was I say? One thing you may notice is that I like in all these all my comic rants, I never talk about story. I do a little bit, but I never talk about. I very rarely,
because that's important. Because people will people will forgive a lot of fuckery for a good story.
True, but it's also that it's not my field of expertise. You know, I've drawn for many years. Oh, I don't know how to write a story.
You should learn to then.
I should.
You should learn to. You should write a story.
But it's also that it's somewhat difficult to identify the. Hang on, I've got to connect.
Son,
to this
lock
pipe.
the fuck in. That's all I'm saying.
A lot of the I'm not going to mention it because it's like a thing you shouldn't. And I don't like mentioning it on stream. But the problems with the story writing in Western comics are they're so muddled. They're so muddled because there's many issues going on. They've got these they're so no one is buying them, and while the art is a contributing factor to why no one's buying them, a lot of it's frankly the stories are just not good.
That's true.
At the end of the day, story is what people are buying these comics for. The art, people like the art, but really they like the stories, and they're not buying comics. The stories are really bad.
Ooh.
I'll start deleting the other one while I'm here. Actually, I'll say we'll wait till we hook up the second one, just so we have enough power. Well, I think we'd be doing well.
No, we should be fine. We should be fine. Our power consumption is actually really low right now.
All right then.
Our max consumption is kind of high, but that's because we have a bunch of shit just not doing anything for a while. So we'll just slowly build it up.
Alrighty.
I am removing all the power cells as well, because I have perfectly manifolded this.
The reason I use power cells is because it's sort of less. I've run out of space.
He just doesn't want to build more stuff, chat. He's kind of lazy.
It's true. I don't want to build
Throw
more
this
stuff.
man around. Also, I like how you've removed that thing. The power consumption has actually gone down, but not enough to worry about.
That's kind of fine.
We're now just producing perfect amounts of power, right? How did you do the power line so you did that? Okay, right.
Why am I still making crates?
Power Mark II.
What else can I dump?
It's funny, duh.
What else can I dump?
And we will do that. And now we have more power being made, Mr. Sun.
Wonderful.
Be working. Should be filling up.
What was it gonna say? But yeah, I also think that the reason why the story is it's not even necessary to talk about how to improve the story, because I think people are good at writing stories. I think there's no issue with that. I think it's just it's purely an issue of the structure of the industry in the West. Mm-hmm. It's not meritocratic, or however you pronounce it. They're not hiring their best. You know, the way it works in Japan is they follow the philosophy of, if it's interesting, it will be serialized. That's the philosophy they follow. You know,
yeah.
If One Piece suddenly got bad ratings, they would cancel it.
I think it should get bad ratings. One Piece kind of sucks.
Well, but the point is, it still gets good ratings. You know, people.
Yeah, but it's still lame as hell. I'm sorry. One Piece is ass. It's terrible.
Maybe, but it's.
Ugh.
Oh, I need to stick some crap in the depot. I'm carrying too much rubbish. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Why are you not flowing? Oh, because you got like a downward pipe, and that means that this is full of fuel, which is what we care about. No? Okay, why are you not full? What is going on here?
Some of the greatest art was made through patronage. That refers to sort of like someone paying an artist just to do whatever they want, right? It's sort of like that. It's hard to know what that word means. Take as a Patreon. It's so muddled. But I assume that refers to like guys like you're the artist. Just make whatever you like. I'll pay for it.
Actually, son, I just realized you can manifold this easily using valves.
Valves? How so?
Well, with the valves, you can basically just set up like the amount you want to go through a certain pipeline, and that's it.
I guess so. I don't know.
Like, as long as you put a valve on, it's like whatever. The game's not going to care.
No, these pipes are evil. They do not have your best interests at heart.
Ooh.
But
see, I'm doing fine with them.
But let's see.
I understand the pipes. So it's 80 on each valve. That's what we're doing.
Alright, I think that's everything.
80.
What was I gonna say?
Should.
You know, but in the West, it's like they've got these like publishers, and they have an idea of like a story, and they write it, and then they think, okay, we're gonna fund this. Like it's not democratic. Like the readers like don't get a say in like what gets published.
Well,
and then they'll only cancel it after it really doesn't make money, you know. But like that can take a long time because it's all decided by these publishers and these editors and stuff. Like I don't know, they got a reputation for making rubbish.
Hey, whatever you say, mister.
What was I gonna say? You know, but I think that all the writing problems, and to an extent also the art problems, would just be solved if you just simply published comics based on popularity. You know, just like it's like VTubers. It's like VTubers. You know, like the success of a VTuber is determined entirely by their popularity. Like no one's like, you can't force a VTuber to be successful. You know, like you can't. They can't. It's not determined by committee. You know, like it's you can throw money to give someone a good model, but like, at the end of the day, look, if people like who they like, you know.
Okay.
And this has led to a lot of really good VTuber content. You know, like the good stuff.
That's true.
Has been encouraged to be produced. You know, whereas in comics, that's not happening. That's not happening. They're not encouraging good stuff. The people like have no say. Like I don't think they've made money in like 30 years. I'm actually convinced of that. Well, he's playing with fire here. He's hot swapping the power supply. You do know if the power does cut off, it's difficult to turn back on because these generators require power to run.
Will be fine. Check the power line. Check the power supply.
I assume it's fine. I assume it's fine. But I was just saying, sort of like you're playing with firepower.
It's a little inconsistent currently, but it should go back to consistency soon.
Yeah,
because we are pumping explicitly how much, like, this pipe is full. This pipe's taking a little bit. This pipe is a little less full.
But I think if comics adopted the same kind of publishing practices, like philosophy as what manga does, where like if something sells well, then more of it will be produced. Which that's not even like the manga philosophy. That's just straight up good business practices. You know, if they started doing that, you would start seeing all the crap stuff would just get cancelled immediately. And then there will be like maybe one or two comics which survive, which people are actually reading, and then more people will make comics like that, and eventually someone will make a comic that's like slightly better, and now hint like, okay, this is how you make a better comic because this makes more money, and then eventually like it would just basically like I think like it would become a lot more like manga. Like in terms of paneling, like pacing. That's what I mean. Comics are very fast-paced. Like, you know, each panel conveys a lot more information than a manga panel, and a page, and vice versa and stuff. You know, it's sort of like what you can get through in 20 pages of comics is like what would take like 100 pages in manga.
I'm actually going to increase this just so they have like.
And this is like, this is like a subtle thing. This is like a subtle thing, and it's hard to say whether like one's better or the other. I think that the slower pacing of manga is more intimate. It's more it feels more alive because it's closer to animation. You know, you can really feel like the characters moving. You can see their facial expressions changing because there's more panels, more keyframes. Whereas in comics, it's sort of like everything feels like a lot more stiff. It's more like you don't get quite as many emotions, I think, because it's like it doesn't feel animated because it's not animated. And I think naturally, if you just let people judge what comics they like the best, I think they would naturally like comics which have a slower pacing.
I think people would. I think the average okay. So you're trying to make an appeal to like the average demographic, but
I'm making an appeal to what's going to make money. What people are actually going to buy. I think that
sucks because when we do that, we get shit like we get some terrible stuff. I'm sorry.
If we determined everything by artsy smartsy, what's good taste, everything would probably just be Mobius, and then nobody would have ever heard of comics outside of like the fartsy art circles.
I think we would also get a lot more garbage. I'm gonna be honest.
Did I disconnect again?
Oh,
dang it.
You did. I might be having internet problems. To be fair, that might be a possibility.
Well,
but like, I'm gonna be honest. The average gamer. So I'm gonna take video games here for example, because like I'm as a gamer, I like my video games. Right?
You're a gamer.
As the gamer, right? I hate gamers. Welcome back, son.
I think
I bounce in your head.
A lot of the popular stuff is good.
Wrong. Incorrect. It's so incorrect. I'm actually upset.
I think a lot of the popular stuff is good, and the niche stuff appeals to our individual niche tastes in a way that is more potent than the mainstream sort of taste. But the mainstream stuff is still very good, and you wouldn't have the niche stuff without the mainstream stuff.
No, I think you're like entirely incorrect.
How so?
Because I'll give you an example of stuff that is quote unquote mainstream. League of Legends. Are you seriously sitting here telling me that League of Legends is good? Are you seriously doing that, Mr. Sun? Normally stuff is slopper. Digby is entirely correct.
I think slop is important. I think slop is important.
Slop isn't good though. You can't be saying it's good.
It's the backbone. It's the backbone of the industry.
No, League of Legends is not a backbone of the industry. It is a blight on the industry. Money that goes into League of Legends goes into Valorant and vice versa. That is it.
You can't have high-quality niche stuff if there's not a load of money flying around. You know, like, think of what's like a niche anime? It's like a cult classic.
No, we're going to video games today. Go back to video games. Back to video games, son. I need you to find an example of that for video games, because I'll tell you what happens with video games, right? League is so hated now, so if haters never played it, I played it. I played League, and I can tell you for now, for 100% certainty, that it is ass. It is, like, terrible, right? And I'm going to show you this, right?
Video game is big business today. It's big business, you know? There's probably billions in it and stuff. And League carries its weight in that way. Does League charge money? Do you have to pay money to play League? I don't even know.
No, League is free, but the skin market is insane.
Okay,
yes, it makes a lot of money.
Okay, there you go. See, that is like.
So what's happening with that money, son? Can you tell me what's happening with that League of Legends money?
It's going to, I think, Blizzard, right? Whoever makes League, right?
No, Riot Games.
What
do you know
else does Riot
do you know what other game? Valorant.
Is Valorant good?
No.
Is that a subjective opinion? I've never played Valorant.
It is League of Legends if it played like CS:GO. That is it.
It sounds like a lot of people. I've never heard memes about people hating Valorant in the same way they hate League.
Valorant is because people already hate Valorant. Like the people who hate Valorant are like the people who like Valorant are like non-human.
The point I'm making is that like in these kinds of industries, whether it's video games or movies or anime or whatever, or even comics. The mainstream slop, makes so much money that it allows for niche stuff to be made. The industry becomes a big industry, and the niche stuff can't do that on its own. And for that reason, you have to appreciate the slop.
I'm going to be honest with you. That is incorrect. That is like factually incorrect, and I have proof.
Oh.
I have a video game that is like proof of that core philosophy, right? That you are wrong. So there is this game. There's this beautiful, beautiful video game called Titanfall 2. It was phenomenal, right? When it came out.
Toma Tengu plays that.
It is. He does. It is a phenomenal video game, right? It has one of the most interesting set of mechanics, the most interesting movement, it's got a lovely campaign that's short but very nice, very sweet. One that you will replay if you own the game. I have done so multiple times. It has got the absolute best first-person shooter mechanics I have ever seen in a video game.
I've seen gameplay,
but
it was pretty solid.
It is very solid, but it wasn't the mainstream shooter.
Oh, it surely probably.
And
it
was not. No.
Millions of players, surely.
It was released between Call of Duty, the Call of Duty that came out near it in 2016, and Battlefield 1. It was released between those two games.
It's tough competition. I guess.
It was by EA, because EA sucks, right?
It's still AAA though. It's still AAA though, right?
It's AAA, but it was not mainstream. It was not the mainstream shooter, right?
What's like a small indie title?
I'm not done.
Okay.
I need to let me finish. Titanfall 2's development has ended, and the game is considered like almost abandonware because EA went, actually, Respawn, you're going to make a battle royale shooter called Apex Legends, right? And you are not to do anything else with the Titanfall IP for a long ass time, and they still haven't done anything with it.
It's kind of funny,
right? We lost Titanfall 2 to that slopper.
I guess that is the big downside to the slopper, in that like it encourages more slopper, But like I still think like you think of like the artsy fartsy stuff. Like speaking of anime specifically, I forget, was it 90s or something, the late 90s or something. There was this era of like experimental anime, like Lane and stuff, and that would never have been made had it not been for titles like Gundam and like Dragon Ball and stuff. Like
Maybe.
they made like anime big enough that there was now the option to experiment with this like stuff that was not going to be as popular, because the whole industry is so big that even stuff that's like niche makes enough to get by. Whereas if these bigger things hadn't existed, if you tried to make Lane in like the 1960s when the industry didn't exist, like no one would pay any money for this, and it would never be made. And so that's why I think we have to support.
That's true, but it's not. But slop isn't going into funding niche games. That's not what's happening, right? It is clearly the opposite, where niche games get popular, and then some slop company comes along and is like, "You're making slop version of this now." Well, that is what happens.
There's also a million Gundam clones, I suppose, and it took and not everyone's going to be Evangelion.
Exactly, right? And it takes because Titanfall 2 was technically a form of slop in its original. It was technically like meant to be a competitor to Call of Duty, right? That was its original goal, but it did rise beyond that through its niche mechanics and its niche gameplay and its niche appeal. But then it was turned into slop by the company that owns it. Mechas are much kryptonite to normies. That's
another thing. Like I was saying, like things like why we don't need to copy anime. It's like we don't need to copy mecha. It's just not. It's not necessary. Like mecha's cool and stuff, but it's not. I don't think like it is the essence of why anime is popular. Like it doesn't need to be mecha, and the fact that we don't have mecha in the West already is probably a sign that it probably wouldn't sell very well in the West. Like it's probably kind of a niche thing.
I still think that your statement about how slop will fund the niche stuff is incorrect. I still think it's not directly, but it funds it in the sense that the slop brings in like lots of people. It brings in more customers to the like the whole thing. We like Transformers. I love Transformers. I hate how Transformers got slopified. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate slop. I hate the people who like slop, who consume the slop because it's slop. I hate them. I hate them. They're tourists.
I'm not saying I love the slop. I'm saying that it's necessary for it to exist. It's like, because it brings in, like video games attracts, millions and millions of people today, and almost all those millions are coming in through the slop, but then they trickle out to the other industries, and they wouldn't have done that otherwise.
But slop games are trying to make it as much as they can.
Oh yeah,
so that doesn't happen anymore.
But they'll never be fully successful. If
That's
games,
true,
and this is the problem with
like,
art. In fact, I'm gonna talk about like niche and cult and stuff like that. Art is the iconic example of this. In art, it's entirely niche. There's no mainstream slot art. Like you go to like anywhere and you say, "Oh, well, have you been to the galleries today?" Like no one's going to galleries. Like that just does not exist anymore because it's entirely niche. And it just like it doesn't exist as like an industry. It's like money laundering today or whatever. Like no normal people are buying art because there's no mainstream art. There's no slop art, and so there's no niche art either. It's just this weird artsy fartsy stuff paid for by billionaires for God knows whatever reason.
But even then, it's still not the slop that's funding stuff. The slop is only sometimes. I'm not even saying like all the time because it can like. Because I've known people who tried to like slop and they couldn't like it. The
Japanese hentai industry is very big.
He's talking about the hentai now. He's talking about porn. He's gooning chat. He's a gooner.
There's a lot of there's a lot of Japanese artists who make very weird hentai doujins because it's such a big industry that they can do that and they can make money off of doing that. But that only exists because because it's just such a big industry.
I get what you're saying, but the fact that slop has done more harm to actual niche games
I guess that's the crux of the argument. I don't think it has done more harm. I think it has.
I think it has actively killed niche games. These giant like super corporations of video games will eat up smaller corporations, buy out IPs, and never make anything good with it.
I don't think you would get any video games, any niche video games at all, if it wasn't for the big games, if they didn't exist. Because so few people would be playing video games. It would be not mainstream at all, and like they wouldn't have like the technology to build these games because no one would have made it. No one would be buying it. You'd have to be selling you'd have to like manually publish your video game. Like, did you see that thing that it wasn't a video game, it was like a thing. El Calonc did a thing where like he printed something onto a Game Boy cartridge and handed them around at conventions, and that was very cool and stuff. That's what you'd have to do. If mainstream games didn't exist, that's what you'd have to do. You want to do your indie game, your niche indie game.
You still have Steam.
You wouldn't have Steam. You wouldn't have this. It wouldn't exist. It wouldn't exist. Like it would be so niche, and they would go out of business.
No, actually, you are entirely incorrect, and I know you're incorrect there because Steam came off the back of Quake, right?
It's a mainstream title.
It was Quake. Quake was not a mainstream title. I'm sorry, but
the early video games industry was a dark time for. There were very few video games. Today we have such a wealth of video games. You can find a video game for the most niche thing imaginable. You would not have that if the game industry was not as big as it is.
Possibly.
That is the core argument I'm making. That the big slopper makes the industry, the gaming as a culture, a big thing, and this brings in millions of people to gaming as a whole, which then allows niche titles to thrive.
I don't know. The early video game industry says otherwise, son. Exactly. Son does not know the history here. That's what's happening.
I don't play video games.
Yeah, he plays Call of Duty. He is a slop shill. That is what this man is. He's shilling the slop to me, and I say no slop.
I feel like we've been going around in a circle with that argument for like 10 minutes. Let's talk about the comics again. How do we? I know
about video games. I know about video games. This is my area of expertise, son. I'm sorry.
I want to float ideas of what would make comics popular again. And I think I mentioned how I don't think it's necessary to even think about writing, because I think the writing has already been solved. It's just that comics aren't allowing good writing to go through. Like I don't think, like, manga doesn't have particularly good story writing. Like mangas are famous for having terrible endings, and like there's very few like literary masterpieces like in manga. Like it's sort of it's in almost inherently a slop like art medium sort of compared to movies. The
hold up.
you know, I think that if we just
you
simply
can't just change. I'm sorry, son. I'm tuning out of this one. I'm sorry
Oh my
because you got me angry about video games. And no more talking about it. And I'm like, no, let me talk about video games. I'm not done.
I'm curious as to how you're going to place these things with this bloody thing sticking out of the ground.
I want to see something really funny.
It's going to clip it.
I don't care about the thing. I'm just gonna clip it.
He's had enough.
But okay, so we are currently playing a Slop Factory game that is derivative of not Slop Factory game. Right? If you want to talk about slop, right? This is the factory game Slop.
Look, if you want the purest, if you want some hardcore factory gaming, okay, you need to load up Roblox and go to Industrialist. Okay, that game's tough.
We can talk about Roblox. Hold up, actually no. We can talk about Roblox and how it actively hurts game devs. No, we can talk about that one. Actually,
that's a fun argument because I think I did. I can't remember who I was ranting to that about a while ago, but I do know a lot about this story, the exploitative game dev thing. Because I have a rant. I've got words. You start talking about the Roblox game dev exploitation scandal. I've got words for you, Mister. I've got lines.
It's bad. It's the only words you need.
Let me. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll let you tell me about the Roblox stuff then.
I mean, you kind of just did it. It's like Roblox is a company that very much underpays the usually underage creators making content for the game.
Yeah,
there's not much to say because that's it. That is it.
That is. However, I think that its causes are less sinister. They are, and I think the real sin is their neglect to adapt to what their game has become. Back in 2006, Roblox was a very small game. It was like a Lego clone. Like it literally had like the Lego bricks and stuff, and you weren't making money off this. This was a game for like 10-year-olds. It was like
before we go into this, I need to ask you about this thing. Son, why have you spaced your power plants kind of weirdly?
Have I?
Yeah, why did you space them like that into like sections?
Oh, I think it's purely just aesthetics.
Okay, right.
Because it's sort of like one tube is going to 4 of them, so it's like a unit. It's just sort of like it's not entirely necessary.
Well, I'm not going to space these.
You don't have to. I sometimes space things, but I'm
not because I'm placing a lot more things. But I was just wondering. I was like,
there's no functional reason for it. It's purely aesthetics.
Okay. Right, go back to your thing.
So back in 2006, Roblox was this block building game for 10-year-olds. That's all it was. Yes. And you can make your own games in it. That was like part of the draw. It's like you can make your own little block world in it as well, like Lego. Like that was the idea. It was a sandbox. Right. It was like a sandbox thing, and that's what it was. And it got more popular, and they had an in-game currency in it. And it wasn't it wasn't connected to real money. It was a silly little game, a silly little Lego game.
Robux.
And if people visited your world, if people visited the world you made in it, you'd get some tickets. They're tickets, they called it. It wasn't even called Robux yet.
Oh,
it's called
that's
Tix.
crazy.
Tix. They had it. Tix.
I remember those. I actually remember those. I remember those.
And
and
then with those ticks, you could buy like in-game hats and shirts, and it was like a little internal economy and stuff, and you could even buy advertisements in-game that were only on the Roblox website, like internal advertisements. So you'd make like MS Paint, and you'd fund it with ticks to advertise your game. It was it was all internal. It was very fun. And then one day they introduced Robux, and this was a premium currency which you had to buy with real money, and they had a membership that's called Builders Club. And you would get a Robux, and then you could buy more fancy hats with it that the developers made.
Yes.
And at this point you still couldn't get Robux in any way other than buying money. I think you could convert ticks to Robux at like a 4-to-20 ratio or something. It was very.
It was like yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get what you mean.
And then the game got more and more popular. It became really popular. And then one day. They made it so, I think they got rid of ticks, and they just had Robux left. They got rid of the membership as well, I think. And they made it so if someone visited your world or they bought stuff in your world, you could get paid Robux. And then the big change that happened was that you could exchange that Robux for real money. You could cash it out. And that was where it began as a job for people. So everything before this, you couldn't make money on Roblox. It just did not exist. It was an internal economy entirely, like a video. It was a video game. It was a video game. But then suddenly you could make real money on Roblox, because you could cash out the what was previously just an in-game currency. And then in terms of like business, the structure of how Roblox works, it hasn't changed since then. It hasn't really changed since then. But the game has become so popular, and some of these games have become so popular that them cashing out those Robux is actually kind of a significant amount of money. But but like looking at it from a historical perspective, it like you wouldn't call these people game devs. You know, these aren't like, they weren't expected to make any money. Like, this was a game. You know, this is for fun. You know, like, and the currency they made was like in-game currency. You're supposed to buy in-game items with this. It was sort of, you know, it was never intended to be like that. That wasn't the original plan. It wasn't supposed to be like Steam. It was supposed to be a game, and so it's sort of like people complaining that you know, I paid someone to build me a nuclear plant in Satisfactory. I gave him my game save and told him, you know, here's £5, and now he's complaining that he can't make a living as a Satisfactory builder. And it's sort of like it's like it's not really the intention. It's sort of like, this is like you almost don't have the rights to complain that like you can't make a living on this nonsense career path. That's not really supposed to make money.
That's partially true. You're partially true in like the sense that like it kind of happened without realizing.
It happened. Yeah, I can see. So, however, the facts of the matter is that there are professional game devs at this point on Roblox making very serious amounts of money, and they're not getting their fair share because it has become like Steam. Roblox is closer to Steam now than it is to its original self. It is more of a platform than a game, and people are making money on this. They are professional game devs, and they're not getting a good deal.
But the one thing is it's not just a good deal. Is that when Roblox is faced with the reality that what they are doing, they do choose to like brush it under the carpet as much as they can.
And that's where I say
that is the big difference. The big difference.
The real sin is their neglect. Their neglect to adapt and
it's
change
not, no.
to what their platform has become. Whether they're fighting or whether they're neglect. Neglect can be intentional, I suppose. You know, you can intentionally neglect.
Fight accusations and the issues that arise, not in a way that helps the young game devs, the young aspiring game devs.
It's foolish on their part. It's foolish on their part because it's actively discouraging people from becoming game devs. Imagine if you was a Roblox game dev and you did get a good deal, and you made a lot of money in your game. You know what you'd do? You'd make another game. You'd make an even bigger game, and you would make it on Roblox, and then more people would come to Roblox, and Roblox would make more money. It's like, you know, you know, if they paid them more, they would make more money. But you know, they don't seem to realize that. And now, anytime someone makes a good game on Roblox, you know, and if they got any sense, they port it over to Steam and they tell Roblox to get lost. Also, I don't know what Project Entropia is. Is that a Roblox thing? I have no idea. Digby? Did Digby die?
Digby's dead. I can't believe he's dead. But like,
however, one other thing, and this is sort of like I'm not defending Roblox, not entirely. I think they, like, everything they're doing that like people criticize them of is that's a legitimate criticism. They're terrible for not changing. However,
yeah,
I don't like what Roblox has become. I played Roblox back in its early days when it was that silly block game just for fun, just like 10-year-old kids building world, and it was earnest. There was no scams, there was no slop. It was people were just, they were having fun. People made games for fun, and now people make games for money, and everything's like a scammy mobile game. And I think Roblox was better before the money came into it, and like I would almost like so it's sort of like, you know, I kind of wish that just like, you know, no one could make any money off Roblox. You know, I think like it's better as a game.
I think it's fine for people to try and make money off of Roblox. I think it's like fine as like to be like, oh, I want to become like a game dev and I want to start by doing it on Roblox. I think that's fine, but I think like the point is that like Roblox is slop, right? Let's start with that. Roblox is a form of slop, right? I'm sorry, but it's true.
I don't think anyone can deny that. It's been slop the day it got released.
It is 100% derivative of other block games.
It's literally a rip-off of like Lego.
It's a rip-off of Minecraft. If we want,
it's old.
Really
no,
get
you can't. You
deep
can't
into
say
it.
that. No. You can't say that. Minecraft is a rip-off of Roblox, because Roblox is older than Minecraft.
Is it older than Minecraft's release, or
It's
or
older
than Minecraft's in-dev days?
It's older than Minecraft in entirety.
In entirety, when did Roblox release?
Technically 2004, but realistically 2006.
Okay.
And it had
Okay,
it had the same style of characters that it's always had long before Minecraft even existed.
Okay.
It's
Maybe a
sort of-
rip-off of Legos. Right.
I think it's just a coincidence that they're both the same. It's like both made a
Probably was,
both,
yeah.
Like you make a blocky sort of game because it's easy. Like it's easy to make a sandbox building game
Yeah.
with blocks, and you need to make a character model. It's gonna look like that. It's just how it happens, you know. Like
Yeah, and Minecraft is very open about where it's like where it gets its inspiration
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
Like it's like, oh yeah, we got our
So
inspiration from
it always
Infant Miner.
people always surprised at how old Roblox is. Roblox has been around for a lot longer than people think.
Yeah, that is true. It did surprise me. But like the point is that Minecraft is like, if you look at like Roblox, it is slop, right? It is very slop. It like both in like the games that people make on there. I'm gonna be sorry, but like a Dress to Impress is slop, guys. I don't think. I think that's pretty obvious,
a new
right?
game. That's a new game. Back in the day, they had what did they have?
It's still
a lot of the
slop.
games were stopped. They would have you would have most of the games were
Disaster
kind of stopped.
games.
You would have obstacle courses where people, you know, they made it like basically out of Lego, and you
The
got to
obbies,
jump. The
yippee!
obbies, yeah. And there was thousands of these things. They were just copy and pasted. It was the slop of its day. They had
Also, son, look at our power. Look at our power. Look at our power generation.
let's have a gander. Ooh. You've deleted the power line. Oh.
What do you mean power line? I built one.
No, there was a power line right here where I'm standing. That was here specifically so I could check the power line when I'm up here. I'm putting it back.
Okay. Well, I didn't know I was up there. I was like, what is that one? You can check on the You can check on the generators. You can check on the generators.
I don't want to do that. I'm autistic. I must check power lines. Oh, nice. Loads of power. I deleted it because I put the power line in the wrong place for whatever.
I got rid of it anyway. I got rid of it.
There we go.
You can check the generators. You can check the generators. I was like, oh shit, you make a good point.
Well, that's funny.
You can reach them by the chimney stacks. You just walk up to it.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny.
Exactly. There is a way.
Oh dear. Oh.
But like slop only I think slop does very little good for the industries that they are in.
All right.
Because like,
I think-
I'll tell you what slop is, son. I'll tell you what slop is. You know cape shit? That is slop.
It is slop. Yeah, I guess so.
Exactly.
However, the reason why there's only cape shit. Actually, this is like an interesting thing because I need to like actually research this more to find out why there's only cape shit.
There's not. You're actually just wrong.
It's 90% cape shit. Like you ask.
That's why it's slop because there's so much of it.
Name a non-cape shit comic. Name a cape shit comic. You're too slow.
Okay.
The fact that you...
I had like a second to speak because you were speaking. I don't want to interrupt you. The Transformers comics, The Walking Dead. Right there we go. There's your two non-cape shit comics.
It's
right?
like, the joke was that like if you were supposed to respond absolutely instantly because like if it was obvious then that you would respond absolutely instantly. But the point is, it's like
I did. You didn't even give me a. Okay. The time you gave me to respond was less time. I don't want to cut you off. That's rude.
You should have. I would have cut if you had asked me the question like name a non-shonen comic or manga, I would have cut you off with an example. You know, but
that's okay. I don't want to cut you off because I was being polite, right? You know, I think that's fair.
Okay. What was I gonna say? But
like, I named two very quickly, right?
Sure. There's non-cape shit comics, but they're dwarfed by cape shit.
That's true. That's why cape shit. But if you look at video games, look at video games for a second. If we look at player counts, if we look at player counts specifically,
I guess, but it's different.
Like,
it's different.
The slop video games outnumber the non-slop video games in just like amounts. The only difference is like you have to do it by player count specifically.
It's different
because the slop games only live.
It's different. Cape shit represents such an overwhelming, like it's more than just like the majority of comics being made. It's like a culture. It's sort of like the non-cape shit comics have been relegated to the back of the bus. Like they are like comics is cape shit, and it's now reached the point where because people. When people hate cape shit now, they realize that it's complete slop, and they're like, oh no, they're very quick to dismiss cape shit because they don't want to talk about cape shit. But like, I'm sorry, look, every famous comic artist is making cape shit. Every famous comic writer is making cape shit. Like every famous publisher is making cape shit. All the most famous characters are cape shit. Like it's basically entirely cape shit. Like to say that it's not all cape shit, it's at the point where it's splitting hairs.
Well, when you look at video games, the same can be said. Not many people know about
like niche games.
Not
like
niche games. Okay,
they have their dedicated fan bases, and I don't see.
They do have same with niche comics. They do have their dedicated fan bases. Have you seen the Transformers fandom, son? Have you ever seen it in action? Those people are insane.
Maybe, but it's sort of like people think of Transformers probably more as I feel like people think of Transformers more as a cartoon or than a comic these days. Like I read the comics. I've read the Transformers comics. You can't say this to me. The primary, like, in fact, I've got a collage for this. One moment.
Okay, what's the collage even trying to represent? Say your point while you look for the collage.
Non-cape shit comics. I'm just gonna find it.
There's also the Invader Zim comics as well. Those are a thing.
Let's see, where is it?
But like I said, I'm able to name like multiple comic franchises that are not cape shits, right? But I'm naming them to point out that they exist, but not that they're not the slop. That's the thing. I know they're not the slop.
Oh, right? I thought I had called it comics that aren't cape shit, but I didn't. Let me get the next. I'm gonna have to open the image to find out which one it is. Let me see, because I think it was several.
I bombed it. Okay, also, I bombed everything on this one island.
No, that's cape shit. Is it popular comics?
Well, like, the Transformers fandom does exist. They are, like, a real thing. There's also, I'm not gonna say Homestuck. I'm not gonna say Homestuck as a comic. It's much different.
I think I may have lost the one I was actually looking for, but here is, like, I think people will say, they'll say, hold on.
I'm holding on. I'm holding on. Son. Oh, there's asterisks as well. Oh, and I named none of those. I didn't name a single one of those things. That just goes to prove that there's a lot more than just cape shit.
I've returned. I got McDonald's. McDonald's spontaneously.
Okay, I see. Okay, that explains it. You should have mentioned you're getting food.
I didn't know. I didn't order it.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, as I was saying, that's a lot of different comics that none of which I named.
This collage is Euro comics.
Europeans, okay.
People like, I say, they'll make the argument, say, it's not all American comics. You got to talk about the Euro comics. I'm like,
I named them. Okay. I'll give you the funniest thing. I named American comics as well. I named specifically Americans.
Yeah, this isn't like the collage I was talking about. Like, I was not. It wasn't the one I was trying to look for. I couldn't find the one I was trying to look for. This is like an unrelated one, but it's kind of in like the same kind of vein where it's like, people will say, oh, comics are not all American. So I'm like, okay, give me some non-American comics. And this is what they gave me.
Well, I never
These
said
are
that.
the names they gave me. And then what I did, because people love to post covers. They love to post covers, because the covers look very impressive. So what I did was I picked a random page from the comics, and I used that. And they don't like that.
Hold up.
Not one bit.
Hold up.
What?
Hold up. I'm cooking. Give me a sec.
Cooking? I love how we're 2 hours in. I haven't built literally anything.
Yeah, you've done nothing. All you've done here is be like, slop good.
But I'm gonna rant about this collage while I've got it open.
Okay.
There's actually two of these, I think, but this is one of them.
Let me find a page from the More Than Meets the Eye.
But what they do is they name they have this, like, they like to name old comics, and I mean really old comics, like stuff from like this doesn't even have like really old stuff. There's another one I've got, stuff from literally like the 40s, and I'm sorry. This, like when I'm like trying to make an argument of like how do we like make comics good again, just like what manga is today. Manga is so popular, everyone loves manga. How do we make comics good? And they're like, no, comics are good. Here, you should read Lucky Luke from 2006. I'm like, sorry, pal, like this is not competing with manga. Like you're not going to the high school where everyone's got their like their Dragon Ball Z backpack on, and convince them to read this. It's not happening.
I'm gonna fucking dumbfound you. The more that meets the eye comic goes hard on the art. I'm gonna be real.
Tintin. You will not find anyone below like the age of 60 who cares about Tintin. It's not happening.
Alright, there's a page
really good.
Straight from the comic.
This is really good.
Exactly. See, there we go. Non-cape shit, good comic, right? It was that easy to find. I found it instantly.
There is one. This is something I haven't mentioned too much. Is that there's a few like areas in comics which are considerably better than the rest of them. Specifically, the Sonic comics. To an extent, the Star Wars
the Sonic comics. I forgot about those.
And I've never seen Transformers comics before, but I bundle that into it as well. They're all better.
You should bundle it in. They're good.
The reason why I think they're all better is because they have more artistic freedom, I think.
It's also because they're done. Okay, so I'm going to give you the heads up. They're done by IDW. That's also why.
Oh yeah, that too. And I suspect if you were to go and work for IDW, they would have more.
IDW know what they're doing, but my point is like that slop is.
Doesn't IDW stand for like independent something?
Possibly, I don't know exactly what it stands for. Have you put this up on screen? Are you showing chat this?
That was a good idea. Sorry, I should have done that.
You should be showing chat this on. This is a streamers.
Yeah, this is good. This is
good. Streamer fail.
And let's look at why this is good.
It's so good.
First of all, you can immediately see what you're looking at. You know,
Rodimus Prime, my beloved, my husband, my sweet baby boy.
Now,
I love him.
I can see a little airbrushing here. It's toned down. It's not
They
use it
well.
Obnoxious.
They used it for ambient lighting, from what I noticed.
Yeah, it's like you can have gradients in the background, like even manga does that. It does like that's the background. It looks well, you know. But
yeah, and on the screen as well. It's on the screen too.
Yeah, but it's very toned down. It's
screen,
not like you can still clearly see the lines. You know, it's not like you could like this has a flat comic look. You know, like it's bold. It's got that punchy look. And that looks good. It looks fine, but nothing crazy. And I guess it's sort of It's not like the most stellar like example, but it's solid. It's solid. This
that was a page I pulled off of Google Images. That was like the first one I saw.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like I don't care about the special pages. You know, when people say, "Oh,
this was what I just
possible page," I don't care about the best possible page. That's what the best possible page is. One page. I care about the rest of the pages. Yeah. What's the overall quality?
It is consistent with this quality. It is very consistent. Imagine so.
Let me go get a picture from one.
It looks fine, nothing crazy, but that's like it just looks nice. It's nice, but it's also like a well-written comic, right?
Oh, actually, I've got. I think this is Transformers. Actually, you may know what this is from if you like Transformers. I don't know what this is from. I just got this off Google.
I love Transformers. I
really like this page. This is a really good-looking page. You know, this is.
Let me see.
Like, this is very cartoony. The lines look really.
That's
very
the old
artistic.
comics. That's older comics.
I'm surprised.
That's older. That's a different.
I thought this looked quite modern.
That might be done in the Marvel. Because Marvel used to do Transformers comics at some point.
This is very good. You know, like. This is artistic. This is very it's appealing. This action is appealing. I want to I need to go and find out where this particular one is from because I want to get more pages from this. This is really nice to look at.
Looks like Marvel. That looks like it was done by Marvel. Maybe it might. It's kind of hard to tell. It's really hard to tell.
This is an example from a Sonic comic, and this isn't even a particularly good example. There are much better examples, but the Sonic comics. They're really well done. The art is often really nice to look at. Like they have more
I see.
interesting like expressions. Like they're clearly this is clearly more manga inspired. It's obvious, but it's I don't like it because it looks like anime. I like it because it looks good, which is the same reason I like manga. Because it looks good.
I still think the IDW Transformers comic look better, but also the story is a bit better because it focuses more on Cybertron, and I like Cybertron. Teehee. Color me surprised. I like when the Transformers comics focus on the Transformers. That's crazy.
Is this Star Wars? I'm trying to remember. Is that? I don't actually know what that's from. What have I got two here?
But like,
it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of trends.
Yeah,
I guess so. Like I guess there's it. Drawing Transformers in general is like that's difficult.
Kind of difficult.
They've got these robotic faces. They've got,
to be fair,
these robotic bodies.
There's better panels out there.
A challenge.
This one's also more static because it's less actiony, which is probably why.
This could be considerably worse. Like this could be so much worse if it was drawn in the same way a lot of Cape Series drawn.
That's also true. It's done pretty well. But also, like, the other thing is that, like, I think the other thing about Transformers comic is that when people hear Transformers, they think toys, cartoon, and movies.
Yeah,
they don't think of the comics because that's just not the primary form of like media. And the same thing used to be with like superheroes used to be the opposite.
I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with a shotgun right here.
Okay.
If comics were more popular, the Transformers comics would be more popular.
That's true.
They're probably always going to be niche. It's Transformers. It's sort of it's not Superman.
To be fair, the Transformers fandom, right? Especially now, like, okay, so like if we compare, if you look at superhero fandoms, they don't care about the comics as much anymore because they've all moved on to the movies and possibly the cartoons, right? The Transformers fandom.
I think I got this from like one of the latest Sonic comics. I'm pretty sure like there was a meme about this guy that later happened because like Eggman didn't like him or something. The
Transformers fandom will actively read the comics. They're actually good. They will shill the comics, and people watch them. I read the comics. I was like, oh damn, this shit's banging, yo. That's paint, asshole.
But at the moment, it's incredibly niche because comics in general are arguably incredibly niche. If comics were what they were in like the 80s and 90s, a lot more people would have heard of the Transformers comics. I think a lot of people. I think they would have.
A lot of people have already heard of them.
If you go down the street,
I think.
No, even better. You go to the cinema where they're playing the new Transformers film, and you ask how many people are even aware that they do comics. There's a good chance that every single person there has never heard of the comics.
That's because Transformers 1 was directed at like kids who don't know how to read. They spend all their time on iPad.
Well, I know you
can't be saying that.
I don't know. It's just if comics in general were more popular, and they would become more popular through more mainstream appealing stuff, then the niche stuff would also become more popular because those people would go from mainstream to the more niche stuff.
It would not. That's true, but I don't think that's like how niche stuff becomes popular. More popular maybe, but niche stuff usually has like cult followings anyway.
They do, but a lot of them start out like you with anime. What was the first anime you watched?
First anime I watched, okay. So depends on how you want to phrase that question. The first anime I seeked out to watch on my own, or the first anime
that you watched knowing that it is anime, so excluding things like Pokemon, because that doesn't really count.
That was Lucky Star.
Yeah, it's pretty mainstream, pretty slopper, right?
It's not slopper. Okay, it's moe. Okay, it's technically moe slop. That's true, but like it is not like
it's what they call
Lucky Star is not mainstream. It is not mainstream.
Come on, it's one of those animes that people watch as their first anime.
Back when I watched it, it was not mainstream. It was far from mainstream.
How did you find it then?
A friend showed it to me, who is a massive who I'm gonna be honest is a massive weeb and explicitly watched all the old Gundams. Like you, son, like you. But like, point being is like, this was someone who was very like, this was a guy who did not who did not consume mainstream media, right? Even like by both now and at the time standards, right? Like Lucky Star is not the most unheard of anime, but it's not the best barrier. It's not the best way to enter the medium.
It's
right?
not the most like way to get in. I was expecting you was going to say like Death Note or something, but
nope. It was Lucky Star. That's how I got into anime.
But the point is, you had an entry point, and it was kind of mainstream, and
kind of. I'd say it's still niche. I'd say Lucky Star is kind of niche.
You go there from there to more niche stuff. You know what? No one's going to go and watch I don't know, some super niche seasonal anime like as their first anime. It's never going to happen.
People have done that. I've seen people do that with Dan to Dan.
They're the exception. They're the exception.
No one's gonna do it. These people did it. Oh, you're wrong.
I go wash my hands.
He's good. I might order food actually. I'm kind of hungry.
I eat very fast. I was eating while yapping.
You were. I could hear you munching. I hear you chewing down the mic.
So rude.
I could hear it. I was like, son, please finish your mouthful. I'm begging.
I'll be right back.
He's gone. Chat. It's literally me here. I'm here to say silly things. Oh, ooh. Oh no. Ooh.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Excuse me. Hey, Geltran, how much time do you have left?
I got about like half an hour, I guess, because I want to order food.
Darn it. I was gonna say, should we be actually productive and make a factory?
I improved our power situation. I actually did something productive.
I guess so, but it's oh well.
I have done work. I have done progression, Mr. Streamer.
I think this is gonna be the least productive Satisfactory show I've done. What have I done? I think I've been unproductive. I've actually deleted stuff. I deleted the old fuel power plant. That's all I've done.
Yeah. I upgraded our current fuel power plant so we're using all the fuel.
Oh, that's funny. Although
I finished something that you started.
Although I do think that the yapping is the better content in my opinion.
It is fun. That is why people watch streams. That is true. But like, I think as we were saying about sure, the mainstream stuff gets people into the thing, but also people get stuck in the mainstream stuff as well. Like, very few people go off to the niche stuff, right? And the slopper gets bigger, and the slopper grows, and the slopper proliferates, and we get more and more slopper versus the niche stuff. And I hate that. I hate that so much. It brings me so much pain and suffering to know that is what happens. That we get more slopper than we get niche stuff. And that the slopper will sometimes consume the niche stuff. It'll just eat it up, gobble it up like it's a fucking morsel. It brings me pain, it makes me suffer.
There was something else I was good. There was another thing I wouldn't have mentioned. I forgot what it was.
He's gonna mention how he loves slop, chat.
No,
I love slop.
I've grown tired of the slop topic.
He's grown tired of the slop topic, but not the slop itself. I see. That's why it's slop, baby. You never get tired of it.
I think
you keep playing.
What do I think? What am I on? What am I talking about?
I got a bunch of hard drives, by the way.
Oh yeah. I think I said this. I think I've said this. But complaining about why comics are bad. It's largely like you can find a lot of these like videos on YouTube of like, oh, stuff wrong with the comics industry, and they're very tiresome. They're very tiresome because they're pointless. They're pointless. They first of all, the Western comics, like they don't sell anything. No one's buying them. You know, they're so niche. The most they probably sell, excluding collectors, and frankly, there's not many collectors anymore, is to people who already like a franchise and they're really deep into it. Like people buy the Star Wars comics because they really like Star Wars. You know, but sort of. You know, the comics are dead as an industry. They do not exist. Like the fact that Demon Slayer sold more than the entire American comics industry isn't a testament to how popular Demon Slayer is. It's a testament to how unpopular comics are.
Demon Slayer is. I'm gonna shock you here. We're gonna go back to slop. Demon Slayer is also slop.
Oh, absolutely. That's why it's so popular. You know, I haven't read it. Everyone keeps telling me it's mid. I like the look of the character designs. I've watched like 5-second clips of the anime, but I need to go and actually read the anime myself to judge for myself. I've heard like everyone tells me it's mid, but it's also like currently the most popular like anime. So it's like, well, what's going on there? Like,
well, okay. I'll tell you why it's mid. Why it's popular is because it's easy to get into. It was on like Netflix, so if that had easy. Okay, so anime's biggest issue is accessibility. Getting the ability to watch like anime, you either have to have knowledge of like torrenting or like pirating sites, or you have to be subscribed to the subscription service that shows the anime, right? And so your niche anime fans, they'll know how to torrent. They'll know where to go to find anime. They know what they're doing, right?
I jumped out
but
of my
the
train.
normies. But the normies, son, they don't know how to do that shit. They only know Netflix, Eat Hot Chip, and Lie, right?
Yeah.
So the normies, what happens with the normies?
You know, the Japanese banned the Pillows. Didn't the Pillows die? Stop Netflix commissioning. They broke up to stop Netflix commissioning more seasons of Fooly Cooly.
Yeah.
Does like, the Pillows have something to do with Fooly Cooly? Do they like do the songs for it or something? I don't know.
Maybe. But like the point is that what happens is like the reason why Demon Slayer got so popular is because the normies. The normies were able to watch it really easily because it was on Netflix, right? They were able to just be like, "Oh, it's on Netflix. We'll watch this." Teehee, and then they did it. And its writing is not that great. Its writing is kind of terrible. It has like, there's this character trope that it does with the coward character who's secretly really strong, right?
No, I love that trope.
It's terrible. I hate it, especially when like it's all right, but the way they do it like depends.
Interrupting side tangent. Do you ever think about like imagine if like you got into a serious accident and you came out of it all right, but you thought like people would be concerned to whether your brain has survived the accident. They think he might be like a vegetable, and so you decide to just sort of like to take the opportunity to go with that, and then like pretend to be like not mentally all there, and then the government will just like give you a load of money, and like then you wouldn't have to work, and then like no one would like expect anything of you, and how easy life would be.
I'm ignoring this tangent because I don't know where you're going with it. It came out of nowhere. I'm sorry,
if I just pretended to be an idiot, would I get away with it?
Yeah.
Son is explaining benefits fraud to us. Yes.
Son explains committing a crime to the chat. That's crazy.
I'm tired of working hard.
as I was saying, right? So you know there's this blonde haired kid in Demon Slayer, and he is like a strong, powerful character, right?
The nerd looking guy, right?
He's kind of nerdy. He's like the uptight looking one,
and
he's a massive coward. He'll never fight, but then he like passes out. And when he's passed out, he fights really well for some reason, and it's lame as hell. It's so stupid. I hate it. It's like the most dumbest. Like you were waiting for him to pass out and be good at the thing.
That's pretty slop. That's pretty slop.
It is slop. It is slop. And there's like a character in Free Ren who is also a coward, but he like actively fights because he's like, I gotta do it, man. I gotta do it.
It sounds like dumb fun. I think I'd enjoy it.
It was in Free Ren. In Free Ren, it's way better. You should watch Free Ren. It's really good.
Sun continues to to no longer deny the allegations of liking slop. It's like
Yeah.
the girl's friend describes slop. Oh, I think I'd like that.
But the point is, it's like it does like those kind of writing tropes. It does nothing with its plot. Really, like it's like really bad at like doing stuff with its characters. Like it wastes characters very quickly.
I see.
And just has very inconsequential arcs that basically do fuck all for the story, right? Or character building as well. So, and that's why it's slop. But because it was accessible, the normies watched it, and that's how it got popular. Because the normies exist, right? And you have to, and like, when something's easily accessible, the normies go get it. When something's not accessible, nobody watches it, and that's like a big part of it. The Transformers comics, you don't know where to buy those comics. Therefore,
I guess yeah.
despite
like,
them being good.
like, you're probably right. To be honest, I don't even know where to buy comics in general. Like I'm not like
That's
it's not,
true.
And sure, I could find out. Sure, but that's not the point. I shouldn't need to find out. It should be very obvious where you get.
Well,
comics from.
okay. So with the comics thing, I don't understand exactly why that is, but with the anime industry, I know why. Right? I know why this is the thing with the anime industry, because the anime industry like functions on something called exclusive licenses, which is where a streaming service will go to an anime and be like, hey, I would like go to an anime's like a production company and will be like, hey, I want to buy the exclusive streaming rights to this anime, right? Which means that only that streaming service can like stream it, right? Especially in the West here. This is a Western issue. I don't know how it works in Japan exactly.
It's a decision
and
that
it's
has to be
less
made.
important.
You know, like is it. You know, it's just a big enough platform that they're giving them the exclusive rights. It was that good or bad?
Doesn't matter. They pay enough money, they get it.
I guess it depends on. I mean, it's still like a decision. You know, it's like if you paid them for the exclusive rights to air it on your VTube channel, they're gonna turn you down. You know.
Well, yeah, they would, but like because I need to offer enough money, I don't have the capital.
Well, even if
Even
if you did offer a load of money, like it's just a bad idea. They'd lose money on that gamble.
Okay, well, but like, it's not just that. It's also because like the company that like offers. This is why Crunchyroll's terrible, by the way, because they do deal in exclusive licenses, and I hate Crunchyroll with the burning passion. But
do you know how I watch anime? I used to be able to go to DuckDuckGo, but they've become like Bing now, so I can't go there. So if I want to watch anime, I have to go to yandex.com and I type in anime name, watch online free now. Am I allowed to say this on Twitch? I don't think I am.
You can't say this on Twitch. You're not allowed to say this on Twitch, son. Stop speaking. Anyway, point being, right, if I want to watch a niche anime, I have to go and find a way to watch it. But if I want to watch a popular anime, it's popular because it's on the big streaming services.
I guess so.
That's what's happening, right?
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about benefits fraud either.
You're not allowed to do that either. Son, you should probably just like not be allowed to talk about illegal things ever on stream. It is probably not safe for you to do that, and you will likely lose your channel. I would avoid that if I were you, for your own safety.
Oh, God will be the world will be saved from having to listen to my comic rants.
Listen to your comic rants when they're like only right like 60% of the time as well.
They're right at least 100% of the time.
75.
I think we'll settle in the middle at 100%.
I'm gonna say 75. I'm just simply gonna disagree and be like, no, I don't think they are. But my video game opinion's always right every time.
You know, I can't challenge
I say that,
this
and
I don't play enough
I'm a
video
liar.
games.
I
don't play enough
play
video
so
games
many
to
video games.
have any counter arguments. But if I did, I would be
well.
right.
Well, I see how it is.
Sun doesn't get percentages.
That's also true.
100%.
That's also true. But what happens with the what was it? What were we talking about? It was with anime. It's like accessibility is the big issue. That's the hugest issue. That's the biggest issue in the West, because a lot of consumers for anime do not feel comfortable with pirating and cannot afford, or even sometimes you straight can't watch a lot of anime in the West like it too. Evangelion, famously, you could not watch without pirating for years until Netflix picked it up.
Mm-hmm. This is a thing which has made anime considerably more popular. Like these things like Crunchyroll and stuff. Like they are bringing accessibility to anime.
Did you know Crunchyroll was a pirating site? That's illegally streamed it. It used to be.
That's kind of funny.
It used to be, but it wasn't just that. It was one of the only ones that asked you to donate to the site.
So they've got money and just became legit. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
You know,
they also do.
That
they
reminds
also do
me. You
stuff.
know about the Segway story, right?
No, but I'm not done yet. Give me a second.
Okay.
We can
I'll tell you
segue in
about
a
the
second. We can segue in a second. I know you're asking for a segue. I know what you're doing.
That was smooth.
That was smooth, but I caught it, right? I was like, no. Anyway. But like, if I wanted to watch, an anime that I'm interested in, because I don't like the slopper, I have to go out and search for it, right? I have to go out and find it from like a legal streaming site. Because, you know, it's difficult to find. And that's why the slopper got popular. It's because it got put on the easy to find stuff. Crunchyroll was the first example, but Crunchyroll is at least big enough that you can like argue, yeah, sure, but it had other animes on it as well. But Netflix was ground zero for the real slop, right? Netflix getting hold of anime is the biggest mistake the anime industry has ever had, because it introduced normies to slop, and they will die saying slop is kino when they are wrong. They are entirely incorrect.
Did you watch the Netflix Death Note movie?
I did not. I watched someone make a review of it and call it shit.
I watched it and I didn't know it was bad because I watched it like when it came out. I thought, wow, they're making a Death Note movie, and I'm sorry, I have never felt more violated.
Exactly. See, that's the point. It's like it's the slop. The companies that make slop are now introducing people to slop versions of good stuff.
And I suspect that it didn't bring any new viewers to the actual Death Note. Like, I suspect it attracted a live-action movie audience, and like they were never going to watch anime.
Well, it attracted an audience that quickly disappeared.
Yeah, it just wasn't it wasn't a big hit.
Yeah, it had a very temporary, very tiny audience that thought it was shit.
It would have been better if it was like High School Musical. Like,
I mean, even then,
making a musical, like, it would have been better. I'm sorry, I think it would have been better.
but either way, it's like it's clear that like a lot of people who aren't within the spaces of like actual anime fans, and I'm going to call them not real anime fans. I'll fight you on this one, right? Because they're only enjoying the slop. And only enjoying the slop is not a true fan. No true Scotsman, but like actually real and true. And I am correct in this, and I know I'm correct in this, right? As someone who's been watching anime for years, and I hear someone say like, "Oh, I love anime. Yeah, I love it so much. I watch it all the time." And I ask them what they watch.
Name a single anime you've watched.
Name
Unbelievable guy. He's never watched any anime.
Exactly. But like I asked them to like, I'd be like, "Oh, what's your favorite anime?" And they'll say like the big three, and I'll be like, "Oh, have you watched anything else?" And they'll be like, "No."
Name every anime.
So, name every
oh
anime.
Yeah, you're an anime fan? Yeah, name every anime.
I'm just asking for people to watch more than slop. That's all I'm asking, is I want people to watch more than slop. But no, they don't. They don't watch more than slop. They only watch slop. And I'm like, damn, that's lame as hell.
On like the complete opposite, I hate it when people say name your favorite animes and then they name the fancy animes. They name Lane. They name like Cowboy Bebop. They name Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Berserk.
That's true.
Ghost
I can. I don't know. I never heard it. I haven't heard of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That sounds like an 80s ones that you like.
That's the one with the blonde hair guy. And the red hair guy.
Oh yes, it's one of your 80s animes that you really like.
Shut up, it's good.
I don't doubt it's good.
My character is literally based on the character in it.
I don't doubt it's good. Don't worry. I just thought it'd be funny to point it out.
But the point, like, people they're shy to admit liking slop.
I am not shy to admit to liking slop, but if I come across someone who's also an anime fan and they only name slop, I'm calling
Okay, I
them a
guess so. I guess
stinker.
so. They're
Right?
entry level. They're entry level. Yeah, it's
I'm like, okay,
little
try this, and then they
babbies.
go, no, it's got
It's
no.
like-
It's like
you
if they
get comics as
if
well.
they
Name your favorite comics. I'm like The Killing Joke, Batman Year One, and like they
I
name
name-
Watchmen, like. And, like, they name like
Watchmen was good. To be fair, Watchmen was actually good though. Like I can't blame them for being like Watchmen was my favorite. I'm like, okay, that was like kind of Kino at the time.
Do
don't blame you.
I let him know that I also don't like Watchmen? I like
That's fine,
the
you
story.
can-
I like the story of Watchmen. I also
Yeah,
kind of
the
like
story
the
of-
I
the
also
story was
kind of
good.
like I also kind of like the art of Watchmen. What I don't like is
I also like the
paneling.
memes.
I don't like the paneling.
That's fair.
I feel
That's
like
fair. I'm
the-
not.
I feel
I'm
like
not
the
going to argue
paneling-
with you
like
on
the
Watchmen.
paneling's like
I'm not
trying to
gonna-
be clever with its like 9x9 grid that like occasionally becomes not a 9x9 grid. I feel like it's like, what does this add? What does this add to anything? I feel like it's just, I think it's dumb. Like I feel like the comic would be infinitely better if they just drew it normally.
That's fair. I just liked Watchmen. I mean, I didn't even read it. I watched the movie, but you get my point, right? Me, not a comics fan, killing Sun instantly with a single line. I only watched the movie.
Yeah. People who say it's
But,
their
like-
favorite are often pretentious. I
Yeah.
really like it. Like I'm thinking of rewatching it actually, but like
I can
Like-
I can believe someone saying it's their favorite. I can believe that because it's like it might have been like they might not have found something they like more, and they might genuinely just really like what it does. Right?
man who has only ever watched Boss Baby.
This is not like Boss Baby,
I love that movie so much.
but like it's like I'm fine with people like name something as their favorite, but like if I ask you what you've watched. Or like if you ask a comic reader what they've read, and they only name the popular ones or the slop ones,
It's a sign that they're
I'm like,
movie, I
okay,
guess.
die. Okay. If they say they've been watching it if they say they've like, oh yeah, I've only just started, or they like, I read it kind of. If they say like, I'm only kind of casual about it, I'll be like, okay, they've shown you humility. I don't care anymore what they've watched. They're already based in my eyes, right? But like, so like, say if someone says like, because like,
Okay.
I'm like a very casual comics reader, but like my favorite comic was Transformers More Than Meets the Eye because I really like Transformers. It's niche, I guess, but it's like, I'm not naming it because it's any like amazing skill. I just name it because I like it, right? And I can gush about it forever.
We've got 6 more slots.
Nice.
Oh, crap. Odd.
Ooh.
What was I going to say? Oh, let me tell you about the Segway. I feel like you've
Yeah.
probably already heard about this story, but I'll tell you anyway. So the Segway, it was like that 2-wheeled thing with handlebars. And
He's doing a whole bit. What the fuck, son?
what? I gotta tell you this in case you don't know what a Segway is. You know, it's kind
I don't know
of
what a Segway is. I know what a Segway
it's boomer
is.
technology at this point. No one's heard of
No,
Segways
because
anymore.
it was in Pool Plot Mall Cop.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so they're really popular, and they were so popular that a Chinese company ripped them off and had like their own rip-off Segways, and they were making
Okay.
lots of money on this. And so naturally, Segway sues them, for copyright.
A Segway isn't a
infringement.
brand. A Segway is like the name for like.
No, I think it was called. It was called the Segway Company as well. I think. I don't know, but the point is, Segway sued them,
Yeah.
and rather than getting sued, the Chinese company, with all the money that they had made with their rip-off Segways, they just bought Segway.
Segways.
I was hoping that wouldn't appear on the camera, but
I caught it.
with all the money they made with their rip-off Segways, they just bought Segway, and this nullified the lawsuit because you can't sue your own company. and
Damn.
and Segway today is just owned by that Chinese company that used to be a rip-off, but now they just straight up own Segway. They're not rip-offs anymore.
So, okay, what is this? Okay, son. But here's the real question: what is this a segue into?
I can't remember. There's almost enough funny. The creator, the inventor of Segways, died on a Segway.
That's
He was like
Poetic.
driving around on it, and like fell off a cliff or something and died.
damn.
And I found that under the Wikipedia list of like inventors killed by their own invention.
That's really funny. Also, I'm train maxing again, son.
Oh, are you making trains or are you just driving around?
I'm making.
You're making?
I'm making rail. I'm laying rail. I'm railing right now.
I've literally done nothing this time. It's hilarious.
My God.
I was kind of hoping we'd be like build a computer factory today. I was hoping we'd do that. I was like, you know, we really got to do that because we need that to get the rail signals.
See, I would be completely fine if you not doing that, right?
Not doing what?
That's it. That's the end of my sentence. Building a computer factory.
Why not?
You can just build trains.
No, we need it for other things as well.
I expect at least 3 other streams of trains.
We probably won't. At this rate, we're gonna have 100 other streams. We're never getting out of this tier.
I'm doing the work. I don't know about you, Mister, but I'm working.
It's like
Listen, mate, she doubts me.
Gelteran plays Satisfactory while Sun yaps.
That's true. He yaps about how much he hates comics.
No, I must always insist. I don't hate comics. I love comics. I just want them to be better. You know, like no, here we go. I'm gonna do the Anton. Here you go. It's like I don't hate comics. I love them. If I don't love them, I don't read them.
That's true.
It's like he reads no comics.
He reads no comics, but this is. I mean, you do probably. You hate read comics. That's what you do. You read a comic, actually looking for like something to be like, girl, I hate this about it.
He's not wrong.
I'm not wrong. I know I'm right.
No, okay. Here's how it actually happens. I kind of do the same thing with Google Street View. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
What do you mean? Wait, hang on. Whoa, you need to tell me this now because I need to know how you do this with Google Street View.
I'll explain.
This is the last thing. This is the last thing you're explaining in stream because we're going to end it.
What was I say? So I'll go read manga. You know, I've got a few manga I'm like following and stuff. And I'm like, I'll read them, and I also save pictures of it to a folder, so I have like a big reference folder I can go through and look at like good manga pages and stuff, and I do that, and then I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. I really like this. I want to find something good that's like a comic. I want to find a good comic. I'm like, I want to read a good comic, Batman comic or something that's like really good. So I'm like, okay, let's go find a comic. Let's go find a Batman comic. I go find a Batman comic, and then I'm disappointed. I'm like, wow, this is horrible. Like, why have they got these airbrushy glows? Why are they shading with black? Why is there so much text in the panel? Why the pose is so weird? Like, and then like that continues on. I'm like, I need to know why this is so bad. Okay, so they're bad because of this reason. So I'll save a picture of this. This is bad, and I'll make a collage of that. And
well, that's not finding out why it's bad. That's finding out how it's bad.
Is that not the same thing? Well,
they're not the same thing.
I guess why it's bad. I guess that's like
why it's bad reasons. Why is the bad is like the reason as to what as like the explanation as to what makes it bad. Well, how is bad is what's making it is like explaining what is making it bad. Like,
I guess so. It's sort of like it's easy for me to see how it's bad because I can see it. Like I know crap when I see it, you know, but. Why it's like that? That is a more complicated answer. That is more complicated. You know, it's you know, it's sort of like there's this thing that Marvel was. They published a book called How to Draw the Marvel Way, and it's sort of like Marvel had a way of drawing that in-house style, and a lot of people followed that in-house style, and it's kind of an outdated in-house style, and it's changed and become more digital, and I think that's part of like why it looks the way it does. And, were these railways? Why are they so wonky? I think these are some sloppy railways.
Might be mine.
No, these are mine. I remember making these ones. Okay, they get smoother. There's just that one area up there which is a bit wonky.
He's the slopper. He's the slop man. Son is the slop man now.
What is he doing now? I see him in the distance. What is he making?
Making a thing.
He's making architecture. Oh, here's completely unrelated argument. Have you played Halo? Do you like Halo?
I love Halo!
What do you think of the Forerunner architecture in the original 3 Halo games versus Halo 4?
I fucking hate Halo 4 with a passion.
Wonderful.
God, I hate 343.
Wonderful.
I hate it so much.
Wonderful. Excellence, even. in the original 3 games, the arc. Oh, you made a blueprint for that? I didn't even know.
You do have a blueprint, yes.
I never knew. Well, you have
What
a blueprint. Did I make that? Oh, I guess the blueprints are shared now. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I thought they were. I didn't know. But the Invincible is good. Which Invincible?
It is good.
The comic
Invincible,
or the cartoon?
Both.
No, I think the comic sucks.
You hate it because of the art style, but you haven't actually read the comic, which is more than just the art style.
Why would
you
I?
can't.
Look. If you go to a restaurant, okay, and the food tastes like crap.
The art. Okay, but like the storytelling is the food. The storytelling is the food. There, I changed your analogy. I win. It's that easy. It's that easy.
No, I disagree. The art, by the simple fact that the art changed, is a failure. The art should not change. It's like it's inconsistent. Look, you go. What do you do when you go to a restaurant and you order a meal that you've ordered before and it tastes different, and you're like, oh, I'm not happy about this. It should be consistent. Or better example. There's a band you like, a music band you like, and you go to a concert and they play their classic, the one that you love. They play it differently. You're like, no, I don't.
Oh, sweet! Like they remixed the classic. That's crazy.
Yeah, but like, it's just keep like, Luther Strode. Tell me about Luther Strode. What is Luther Strode? I don't know what Luther Strode is.
Luther, these nuts got him. Got his ass, chat. He got owned.
Sometimes, okay. Here's something I do. Okay, there's a guy on YouTube who's my favorite YouTuber called Evilicious. He makes like skit meme videos. I'll show you one later. And he often has like snippets from like songs or like sometimes like musicals. It's very very bizarre. And then I'm like, oh, this is a cool song. I want to go find this song to add it to my playlist because I don't want to just like pull a meme video. But
yeah, okay.
But then I can't find the specific version that his was from. I'm like, oh dang it, this is not the one. And I'm so upset. Like I want this particular one. Like this particular one example I was thinking of was there's a video he makes saying it's called can we listen to something else other than Dracula the musical? I didn't know there was a musical of Dracula, and it had some cool songs in it. I was like, wow, this is a bop. You know, I want to listen to Dracula the musical now. But I couldn't find the exact one, and I was very upset because all the others were not as good as this one.
Got a big long train line coming up here, by the way, son. So what are you going with for this like tangent?
I'll be honest, I've kind of lost my train of thought.
Okay, because we're building trains. That's probably why.
You're building trains.
I am building trains, and you know what? I built pretty good train lines. I built a very cool train line. I'm gonna be honest. It's like a sky rail.
Yeah, I like the look of it. It was cool.
It's got these massive fucking like.
The Strange Talent of Luther Strode is a comic series that had an extremely notable shift in its art direction as a consequence of changing artists, and it wasn't a good shift. It sounds like it's gone through the same issue as American Dragon. Did you ever watch that cartoon?
American Dragon. That's pretty good.
I loved American Dragon.
I know it had the heart style change, which was kind of weird. But I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to show just how dumb I was as a kid. I didn't notice as a kid. Like it never really clicked into me as a kid. Like that. Like I was like, oh yeah, the art style did change. Like, I just like as a kid, I never realized. Like it just.
I'll tell you something, son. That's not because you're a dumb kid. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you like a big secret here. It's because it doesn't fucking matter, man. It doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter.
I rewatched the series as an adult. I was like, wow, I kind of like the first style. Why did they change it?
Well, as an adult, they obviously had reasons, creative reasons.
The dragon probably was sexy, and then he wasn't sexy. Like, who decided this?
The dragon was never sexy. What are you on about? That's a child.
Excuse me. I'm doing a poll. How do I do a poll? I've never done a poll before.
Doing a poll. He's trying to ask, is the child dragon sexy? Yes or no? And I say no.
Okay, I don't have to do a poll. It's so over.
Probably for the best. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a hill you want to die on. Anyway, train done. Train line done. It's all connected now.
Let's see. So where does this take us? Oh, around the back. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a back line.
Oh, I got lucky there. I had like a major lag spike just as I was flying directly towards the bottomless pit.
What happens in the bottomless pit anyway?
You die.
Oh, okay.
I was like, that's all that happens. You just die.
Do you get your stuff back or what?
I don't know. I've never been foolish enough to test it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I always suspect that you don't. Because like,
yeah, it sounds like you won't.
Because like, like I suspect like your crate will just be like underneath the map or something. You'll never get it.
Right, we're gonna think about wrapping up in a bit, but I'm gonna test this line.
I did literally nothing this entire story. This is hilarious.
I know you have. I know, son. Don't worry. I know. I'm aware.
Oh, speaking of Satisfactory, I found out, I just by chance happened to go to the Twitch category of Satisfactory, and I found some German guy who was playing Satisfactory. And specifically, he was playing Satisfactory Plus, that mod I'm always talking about.
Oh, that terrible mod that I don't want to touch.
and he was playing like a alpha test version of it, and he told me that they're hoping to finish it by the end of April and release it.
Okay.
I was like, oh wow. So I thought it'd been like abandoned. So I'll probably like make a new solo world when that happens.
I see. Alright, I'm gonna finish up this train line and then we're done. Then we're done and I'm gonna go get food because I'm hungry.
This was fun. This was fun. We did argue about comics for basically 3 hours. I think it's the meaning of life.
I think it's literally just what we do every time we stream together. Yeah, it's just like we argue about media.
I consider it. I consider it a learning process. You know, like it's sort of like
I didn't learn anything.
When I go to these, the reason I don't like these YouTube channels complaining about the comics industry is because they're so they haven't gone deep enough. They're so surface level. They complain about the politics and it's like
no, I know those people. They're like they added women to my comics. I hate them.
It's like no, I'll be honest. I agree. The politics are also killing comics, but I think even without politics, the comics were dying.
Yeah, like it's like the politics you mean is like where they're just like having characters give massive fucking speeches that take up an entire page. It's like shut up,
yeah,
too many words, not enough action.
Yeah.
Like I know that's what you're specifically referencing to, but like it's like the people who are like
you can't say that.
What's Digby saying? What's he saying? Hold on, let me check
I can't say it on stream.
Women are cringe. You're so right, Digby. So based. They are cringe.
They fail to realize that there are more issues. It's like there's all the issues with the art, and the issues are subtle. Like it's not oh just copy manga. It's like there's nuance, and they don't care. They don't think about the nuance. They just rattle on the same old topics again and again, and they never. And so I always like I feel like the more I rant about comics, the more I learn about comics. The more I come to like ideas of how to make them better.
Exactly. I do that with video games kind of, but I'm also just like very like knowledgeable on video games because I have with video games there's like a level of like objectivity to them, if that makes sense. Like
I guess so.
Video games have an objective like win and lose state, right? Or at least most video games do. They should have. I think they should have, right? And if they don't, they're not really a game. They're just kind of like an experience, which is very different.
Although that has become a
people disagree with me on that one.
It has become a popular thing. I personally don't care for it, but it has become a popular thing.
I desire my games to be a game. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. Yeah, they are called games after all.
Yeah, I want to play a video game. It's in the name. Also, I've looped up this track now. It's now connected in 3 different points.
Nice. What was I gonna say? But oh yeah. The talent sucks. That's that's the surface level. That's the surface level argument. They say, well, the people making comics just aren't very good at making comics. And then this is the only argument they make. They say, oh, well, they suck. They just get better people. It's like, well, what does it mean to be better? Like in what way do they suck?
That's
You know,
true.
like what does good talent look like? What's involved? Or maybe you go even further. How do we attract it? You know, how do we encourage it? You know, like
That's true.
like you know, like it's like do you know how manga gets good talent? Do you know how they attract like new and original ideas constantly? They do
By having them people make they do contests.
They do contests, and these offer cash and money, and also the chance at a publication. And this attracts people who might not even be entirely all that ambitious, but kind of just want to win a competition. It might even just be fun, just for the sake of competing, and
Yeah.
they attract like new talent. This is why there's so much good manga, because they attract new talent. I guarantee I think that if the comics industry as like a starting point, if they just mimicked the industry structure that manga has, where you do competitions, you publish only what's like actively selling, you know, and you operate based on that, I think you would see a radical change in the kind of comics getting released, because the crap would go out of business and good stuff would start appearing.
I think the biggest issue with that, in that you're right, but I think you're missing a key point in that comics and manga both came out very early on in like the life of television. Right?
That's true. That is a serious
obstacle. Now comics will, if you were to like essentially soft reset the comics industry, like you're saying, you would have to have it compete with fucking video games.
Yeah.
And like streaming services.
I think the leg it has to stand on, I think, is that people like stories. They watch movies. They like video games that have cool stories. People. You know, if there's an interesting story, people kind of want to see that story, no matter what form it comes in. And so, if I don't know, any kind of like popular manga or something, and it's a story people like. People will seek that out. They'll talk about it. It's this popular story I like, and if it's good, it will attract people to watch it, no matter what form it's in. You know, of course, if it's a movie, it'll be easier to get popular. Or if it's a book, it'll be very hard to get popular. But take books, for example. Harry Potter did become very popular. It was a good story. People liked it, you know.
But it was written a long time ago.
Not that long.
And it's kind of, and it was long enough ago that, like, you know, it was like not competing as harshly with other forms of forms of media.
That's
but more importantly, Harry Potter is shit. Like, if it came out today, it would not be good.
Maybe.
Is that probably the community of comic writers who's basically
going to read that.
industry? Yeah.
Yeah. That is like that is definitely a big industry. Here's a thing I like to like a scenario I like to like throw at people. Imagine if you are, I think it's Akira Toriyama, the guy who made Dragon Ball. Imagine if you are Akira Toriyama.
Hang on, I'm gonna stop, son. I have to stop you because you have told me this every stream, and it's gonna make me go mad.
Oh, okay.
I have heard this saying so much. I'm so sorry. I have to cut you off for my own sanity, because you're about to talk about no. I can recite it to you word for word. And you're gonna cry.
Okay.
You're gonna say, if you're Akira Toriyama, and instead of making Dragon Ball, you had to make like.
Oh no! Not that.
Okay.
No, I guess it's just unfortunate I've used Akira Toriyama for the example twice.
Yeah, you use it for every example. It's over.
This is a scenario I've made like a million times, but like it goes like this. This. Imagine you're Akira Toriyama, and instead of going to Japan and making Dragon Ball in Japan, you make it like alone in your bedroom in your the West, and you're Western, you're American, you know, you're still called Akira Toriyama.
So I'm Akira Toriyama, but he's no longer Japanese.
You know, and
his name is Adam Kensington or something.
Yes, yes. And
Adam Kent. There.
But the point is, you have Dragon Ball, all 500 chapters in hand. It's finished. It's ready to publish. And you walk through the doors of Marvel and DC. If you do that, you know, they're going to turn you out of the door. They're not interested. You are presenting to them literal gold. They will turn you out of the door because they're not interested in new talent. You know.
That's true. Okay,
And
this was a new saying. This was a new saying. I'm so happy. A breath of life has been put into me. I am refreshed. I am now moisturized, flourishing in my own lane. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Son, use a different metaphor.
That's the
a
thing.
different
It's
saying.
like they don't they're you know, it's like you know, like they're not going to accept Akira Toriyama with Dragon Ball complete, you know, like guaranteed millions. They won't accept that, you know. They're not going to accept anything, you know. They're like, it's like what I forget who said. I think it was someone said that, you know, they're incestuous. You know, they just
Sun
they don't
Tzu
look for good
once
quality.
said, "Big army, good. Small army, bad."
What?
I don't know.
The West did fine before. We don't need the Japanese model necessarily. That's where Galtran's argument comes in. The West, the comics were really popular, you know, from the 40s to like the 90s.
It's not that. I just don't think that, like, I think that the biggest issue with like comics right now is that it's literally the same story all over again, and like it's hard to find a starting point when you want to read them, right? That's the two biggest issues, right? Manga gets around one of them by just being like, it's all okay. I will say there are anime and manga out there who have the same issue.
And we criticize them for that.
The Fate series is notoriously like hard to like understand and get into. I was like, oh, Fate Apocalypse. I heard that's kind of good, and then I looked up how should I start watching Fate, and I got this flowchart, and I was like, I'm out. I'm gone. Bye.
I always love it where you talk about comics, say, oh, comics are convoluted to get into, and then people try to seemingly defend this by pointing out examples of manga doing the same thing. It's like, dude, we hate it when manga does that as well.
Exactly. But my point being is like, it's like, to say for comics to be more like manga is like, you just want comics to be like the good manga. I want comics to be like the good comics.
Or more in a more pure sense. I want comics to be good, you know, I keep saying it. It's like I don't like manga because it's Japanese. Like I couldn't care less where it comes from. I like it because it's good. Like that's why anyone likes manga and anime. Like people like it because it's good. Like, there's no conspiracy to like, oh, we hate America. You know, we love Japan. It's like people like good stories.
I think you should read the Transformers comics because
I want to be along with like all the other sort of like Archie and IDW and like that kind of stuff. Like
you should, because like I hear you talk about comics you don't like a lot and screenshots from comics you don't like, but I want to hear what I want to hear is I want to hear you talk about something you do like.
Well, that's the problem. It's I'm so busy hating. I ain't got enough time to like.
There's so much more ass manga than good. That's also true. The other thing is that we are exposed to like shitty comics because we are in the West. Shitty manga does not make it out of Japan. That is the other thing.
You may say that, but can you name any good comics?
I named Transformers earlier this stream. Well, I named it.
Those are what I think are the coming renaissance of comics. I think. That
possibly
because they have more artistic freedom, you know, like it's obvious they have more artistic freedom, and they're making more unique things. Whereas Marvel and DC, they're done for. I guarantee you, what's going to happen is one day the movies aren't going to sell nearly as well. They're going to have some money troubles, and they're going to start shutting down departments. They're going to start shutting down departments, and the comics department will go. And it'll be this thing that'll be in the newspaper saying, "Oh, after like 100 years or whatever, like comics are finally shut down, end of an era." But that will be the time when the revolution really hits, because there's going to be eyes. There's going to be eyes on what's going on in the comics industry that the legendary Marvel and DC have shut down, and that's where they're going to people are going to say, well, what's left? And they're going to look at the other publishers. They're going to look at like Image. They're going to look at like IDW. They're going to look at like Archie. They're going to be looking at like manga and stuff. And that's where, and then a lot of the people who were working on like Marvel and DC, you know, who are good, they're going to also move to them, and they're going to have more artistic freedom, and they're going to make good comics. And then that's how I think it's going to happen. If there's going to be a renaissance of comic artists, that's the way it's going to happen. I think it's going to coincide with the death of Marvel and DC.
hold on. I need to repeat what Digby has said
Oh.
because Digby has made a very good point.
You don't like
my sister's gigantic ass isekai'd me into a magical world where my mother is the sexiest sorcerer. He's right. Digby's right. There are so many mangas that are like that out there that just don't get translated, and so thus we don't interact.
I guess
with
there's
them.
just so much manga that even the cream of the crop is like more manga than even exists in like American comics. Of what's being like
true.
actively published.
I guess that's partially true as well, but like I do want to like point out that like you are also coming from like the Westerner perspective of I only of everything I've seen is translated, therefore this is all that, therefore like, you know, you're only exposed to that.
Although that tends to happen with a lot of things. It's like take like rock and roll. You know, it was so big, and it's so big. And
I hate rock and roll so much. I hate it so much. Oh, I hate it. Don't get me started. But I hate it. It's bad. It's terrible. All of it is shit. Anyway.
They take the jazz industry.
There we go.
Just pick a different example. But the point is, it's like there's like when we look at like back at like the music from like the 70s and the 80s and stuff, and we remember so many classics. People say, "Oh, the old music was better." We've forgotten all the crap. We've forgotten all the slop.
Yeah.
And we just remember the classics. And
going on.
You know what? It's not a bad thing. Like there's a ton of good stuff. Like if you want good stuff, it's quantity over quality. Just like if you want like the best comics, just start making more comics. You know, you make like 1 million comics. You know, you're gonna get a lot of good ones out of that. You know, like 1 in a million will be good, but you've got like, you know, if you're producing 100 million comics, you've got 100 million. I've screwed up my maths there, but you know what I mean.
100 million frames per second.
Do you remember that? He's such a bully.
Look, I'm cool. Look, it's a callback. It's a callback.
Gigantic ass and friendship.
People who turned up into the stream earlier will get the reference. That's all I'm saying. It's for the viewers. It's for the viewers. It's like in Marvel when they reference like some obscure Scrumblo character from like the comics, and they soy jacket the screen. That's what I'm doing.
Here's a rant I didn't make. I think I've made this rant before. People are confused about the way comics are written. You know, they say it's like, you know, they keep changing the continuity and nothing seems to be canon. And this character died. Why did they bring him back to life? And do you know? Here's how it all makes sense.
The writers don't know what they're doing. That's the truth. They don't plan for the shit.
Here's how it all makes sense. Ape shit is like SpongeBob.
It is.
That's how it works. Plankton gets the Krabby Patty formula. Like they've done this plot 1 million times. Why do they keep repeating this plot? It's like I thought Sandy Cheeks died that episode. Why is she back here? It's like, SpongeBob. It's SpongeBob. It's exactly SpongeBob. You know.
SpongeBob.
Like they have these set like plot points that they repeat over and over again because that's how it works. You know, like you know, Plankton has to go for the Krabby Patty formula, So, you know,
Krabby Patty,
and the what's it called? You know, Batman's parents have to die. Like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I do think they could tell more stories than like the origins though. I think retelling the origins is annoying as fuck.
Well, I guess it's an issue that like the old fans are dying. They're always trying to bring in new fans. But the point is, that's what they're doing. There's a name for it. It's episodic. These comics are episodic. That's why they are the way they are. It's not that they're abusing continuity. There just simply is no continuity. Like they don't care what. Anyway. Like you don't have to ask what episode of SpongeBob do I start on. What you know, do I have to go and watch this episode so I know this time Plankton tried to get the Krabby Patty? You don't need to watch it. You just watch an episode of SpongeBob, and that's why when people say, yeah, you just read like a comic book. It doesn't matter. However, that's ass. Like I don't want to read that. That's rubbish. You know, I want to read a serious story with continuity.
We should think about like wrapping up though, because it's getting kind of late, and I'm also hungry.
Sure thing. Can't remember the last time a big new IP. Oh yeah. One more thing. One more thing. One more.
No.
Like one more thing. They've become very afraid of introducing new characters. The golden age of comic is defined by its prolific introduction of new characters, new stories, new superpowers, new tropes. Like everything's just new, and they stopped doing that. At some point, they just stopped doing that. Like they just Like, no one dares release a plain new character. No one does it. And that's why it stagnates.
Terrible. You're right there. Although we did get there's been some new IPs coming out of the West recently.
It's a trickle.
Cool.
It's a trickle. It should be it should be like manga, where manga's it's new people. There's a new every year there's a new top manga. It's constant.
Top manga is always usually the same one. To be fair, because it's the best seller.
Okay, but this, it's like you mentioned Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer did exist a few years ago. Chainsaw Man did exist a few years ago. You go on it's constantly new things. In another 10 years, there's hundreds of new beloved characters, and it just ever expanding. It's not happening in the West. We're just not making new stuff. It's just there's Batman again.
Batman's back. Batman's back, but he's like a regular
I guess
guy who kills
people. You've heard of Starfire, right? Starfire.
Starfire. I've heard of Starfire. She was in Teen Titans.
No, not that one.
Oh, that's the one I know.
The politically correct comic of, I think, Starfire's daughter, who's a self-insert of the author. And
oh god, I heard of that one.
It's
like some
yeah. There's new characters, quote unquote new characters. They make the children of the superheroes, who are conveniently exactly the same as the parents, but they just look more. They have a broccoli haircut instead.
Well, they did that in Young Justice, but Young Justice was kind of good though.
Yeah, it's my sort of joke is it's lazy. It's lazy. Possibly. I guess Boruto did it, didn't they?
That's also true. Boruto did do that.
And it was lazy. It was lazy.
It was. To be fair, Naruto was never the most, groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, it should have, the Chunin exam was its peak.
True. Possibly, the last peak was the fight with Pain, and that was it.
I agree, that was the last peak, but realistically, I feel like Orochimaru was the true villain of, Naruto. That was, the best designed villain. He fit the world. The rest of the guys didn't fit the world.
Well, Pain kind of fit the world.
Kind of, but, I don't know, it became too Dragon Ball at that point. It's sort of,
It did, you're
Orochimaru
right.
was still very much, he was a ninja. He did all this research stuff, he was doing espionage, there was need for spying. It kind of fit the ninja world aesthetic, whereas Pain was launching magic powers. I don't know. I will say I'm a big fan of Pain.
It was a cool fight. It just didn't feel Naruto. That was the big issue with it.
I'm a big fan of Pain.
Son. Yeah, Pain was a good thematically. He was just terrible in the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, although it's hard to define what the world of Naruto is. It's kind of slop, isn't it? they kind of gave up on the world building after the bridge episode.
Yeah,
that was the only time it was ever actually a ninja show. And even then, all right. Before we quit, let's see what we've got in the MAM. I've just been scanning a few hard drives. Go get a MAM yourself if you want to find out.
I'll take a look. Hold on, I'm gonna put I'm getting another hard drive. Yoink. Yoinked. Okay, let me check the MAM real quick. Hold up. And then we'll end. Then we have to end. It's actually over at that point.
I'm leaning towards recycled plastic.
Let's see, hard drive library.
I'll tell you why I think.
Yeah, that seems like a better one.
Because with recycled plastic made of rubber and fuel, you can get both fuel and rubber from the byproducts of making plastic anyway. So it's you use up all the you can use up all the byproducts of making plastic to make more plastic, rather than being forced to make something else. Oh, you already chose it.
Yeah, I chose it.
All right. Are you already stuck in it? Okay. So let's end here then, perhaps.
Yeah, let's end here.
Oh yeah. I will.
I want to get food.
Oh yeah, I will finish up because I was sort of saying this earlier. Naruto's good. Everyone loves to hate on it. They say, "Oh, Naruto sucks and stuff." Look, Naruto's popular for a reason. It's good.
I don't think it's that good. I think it's
fun. I understand why it's popular.
I think it was good.
I think Boruto sucks. I don't know how popular Boruto is. I sincerely hope Boruto is not popular, because I think that is.
To be fair,
garbage.
I'm also talking about the end of Shippuden as well. The second half of Shippuden was ass. It was terrible.
It got dragged out a lot, and they killed off Madara. He was my Oshi. You know, like if I could have a Dakimakura, it would be of Madara Uchiha. And I'm not talking about Edo Tensei Madara Uchiha. I'm talking about Sage of the Sixth Path, Gedo Reinstein, Uchiwara Madara, with the Rinurikado abilities and a perfect Sharingan. Also,
I'm ending
with
stream.
Hashirama
I'm ending stream. I'm ending
Senju
stream. I'm
DNA
ending it.
implanted in him, so he has a Mopton Genkai, as well as a perfect Susanoo, as well as being a master of Taijutsu and Genjutsu. I don't think so. Well,
I'm ending the stream. I'm ending the stream. I'm ending the stream.
I love that meme.
I have no clue what you said.
Oh, you don't know the meme? Well, I'll tell you another time. Alright, let me see if there's anyone to raid. Who are we raiding? Hamana. I recently followed Gobkabus. Do you know Gobkabus?
Gob is such a good friend. We raid her. We're raiding Gob.
Yeah, sure
say hi to
thing.
Gob. We should say hi to Gob.
I followed her
Gob,
yesterday.
Gob, my beloved. She's so nice. She's so sweet and lovely.
She's got a good voice. Very good voice. She do like voice acting or something. Alright.
She's a bit of a gamer.
I'm
I just looked through my Twitch, like before you finish up go off and raid. I'm just looking through my Twitch notifs. Someone called Poop Fart has gifted me a subscription. I think that's really funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I've raided. And now,
Bye-bye, chat.
I must get the dopamine